Disclaimer. This show is for discussion and entertainment purposes only. The Finding Gnosis Show is a platform for open discussion, exploration, and opinion sharing. The views expressed by hosts, guests, and participants are personal opinions and do not constitute professional, medical, legal, or financial advice. All topics discussed are only intended to spark curiosity, entertain, and encourage independent thought. If any subject interests you, we strongly advise conducting your own thorough research using reliable and professional sources. Critical thinking and due diligence is key. Stay curious, stay informed, be well, be lucky, and don't be an arsehole.
Through the cosmic indifference and through despair, we dig for meaning that might be there. No promises of comfort or bliss, just truths we strive not to dismiss. This is the Finding Gnosis Show, where illusions break and deeper truths grow. Philosophy and thought light the way through the dark toward a brighter day. Not endless struggle, but a fight worth the cost, seeking the meaning we thought was lost. Pessimism asks, why even try? We answer with questions reaching the sky. A critique of the systems, the myths we hold. A reflection on truths both stark and bold. Depressive realism clears the haze, while hope takes root in critical gaze. We search for a path, no matter how steep, to find the truths that lay buried deep. This is the Finding Gnosis Show, where illusions break and deeper truths grow. Philosophy and thought light the way through the dark toward a brighter day. Not endless struggle, but a fight worth the cost, seeking the meaning we thought was lost. Promise ease, we don't promise rest, but a journey to uncover what's best. In cosmic indifference we still find might, to question, to change, and to ignite. Welcome to Finding Gnosis, where truth takes a stand. Together we search, together we understand. Through reflection, critique, and bold exploration, we strive for meaning and revelation. The journey begins, the truth will unfold. This is the Finding Gnosis Show.
Hello, people. I do hope you're well. Welcome to the 40th episode of the Finding Gnosis Show. Today, we are simply asking the question, how are you? That is the question. You can take that however you like. You can take it in the manner of speaking that most people take it usually. And that is, how are you feeling right now in this moment? How are you today? How are your emotions? Are you content? Are you satisfied? Are you frightened? Are you miserable? You can reflect on your lived experience of existence. You can even dive into a scientific perspective if you want to, somehow or other. Talk about perhaps how you're trembling in fear of the possible techno dystopia that we are on the cusp of, perhaps, or perhaps we're on the cusp of some techno utopia, whatever your feelings are on the matter. Or perhaps we might embark on a spiritual journey into how you came to be. What is this you? What power does it have? Where did it come from? How are you? How are you? Did you come here via evolution? Are you the result of the mindless gloop of sludge in mid-Atlantic rifts, somehow or other causing the accumulation of the right particles of this and that, so that now here you are, far in the future, since that happened, listening to me nattering on. How are you? I do hope you're well, by the way, and welcome again. This is the Finding Gnosis show. So tonight is a discussion show, really. We're just going to be talking about how you are and whatever that brings to the fore in your mind, you can talk about it. That is the question. It's a rather open-ended question, so it will be interesting perhaps to see where it goes in terms of conversation, because I don't know. How am I? I will answer that question as well if you want to when you come on, no problem. So, guys, if you really want to get the show going, I suggest coming on. That would be much appreciated by me and by others, I'm sure. Who's going to take the plunge? The first step. Black Hole's always good to do so. He's there. I hope you can come on, Black Hole. Black Hole says he's needing a job. Well, I hope you find one that's suitable to your desires and level of satisfaction, brother. Pseudo History says they're looking forward to 1,000 years of peace. Good for you. They say life is both the source of their sorrow and joy. In answer to the question, how are you? They say, I'm so-so. Everyone is so-so. Everyone is so-so, including so-and-so. Right. Guys, the link is in chat. Do come on if you want to, and we will get going. And it will be a case of as you were. The conversation will start flowing as usual. And yeah, we'll see where we end up. So I'm patiently awaiting the arrival of a conversationalist to join the panel. The link is there, right? You can hear me okay? I think you can, because you are replying to me in the chat. So I take that as a given that you're replying to me rather than putting out words that coincidentally seem to be replies to me, though just random in their causation. I don't think that's happening. But how can I be sure? Well, you know, one takes a guess at these things. One approximates some probability to things and goes with the highest likelihood. So, just having a little sip of drink. I'm good to go. Have walked my furry friend, my dog. So my dog is relaxing beside me, having a little snooze. So yeah, it is time to chat. By the way, brother, question mark or Curious Curmudgeon, as he changed his channel to. I don't know if that's going to be a long-term change, but that was his rebranding yesterday. Curious Curmudgeon and me were chatting last night, and we did talk about doing some thought experiments as a discussion topic. So, you know, the classic thought experiments that are out there to get the cognitive juices flowing. But seeing as Curious Curmudgeon is not able to come on himself tonight because I believe he's very busy, he might just be listening, I thought it'd be more appropriate to leave that until another day, because he is the main man in terms of, you know, analytical philosophy and all the hot takes in that regard. So yeah, I think we'll wait for that, but we will do that one very soon. I think that will be an interesting set of conversations, because it will be interesting to hear just what people will do in situations where, you know, lots of people have different opinions There's no clear-cut answer. And yeah, those types of conversations are always very interesting. You know, one starts to reveal one's thought processes, and perhaps you learn new things about yourself, and others, obviously. But it is always interesting to learn new things about oneself. What are your biases? You know, what are your kind of where is your short-sightedness on matters? What could you put more thought into? You know, where is your irrationality? Where are you perhaps relying on emotion too much? And by that I mean your emotions, perhaps. Um, so it's always interesting. With pseudo histories here, they said, I come from a school of silence, one-liners, and the occasional monologue, conversational format in cinema. Okay. Pseudo history says, not with my means at the moment. I presume they can't come on and talk to us. Well, that's a great shame, pseudo history. I do hope you'll manage it soon. They're looking forward to a world without war. That's what pseudo history is looking forward to. Would I dare to call that a pseudo future? But hey at ho, that's what you want. I'd like to see that too. We have a bad historical track record, and we have a bad present day track record in that regard. So yeah, he looks forward to 1,000 years of peace one day. So yeah, we've been live now for 11 minutes. We're currently live on x.com. You can follow us there on x.com at Finding Gnosis 8 is the username there. At Finding Gnosis 8, that's number 8. And we're also live on YouTube and Facebook. UF Dogs is here. Hey up, brother. The topic today, brother, is how are you? Now you can take that any way you like, because that is you can mold the answer, because it is up to you. It's how are you? How are you feeling, perhaps? What is your level of contentment? Or you could go scientific with it, as I said at the start of the show. You say, how are you? How are you? How are you here? Do you believe in evolution? You know, are you here because of determinism? Are you here because of a series of free will decisions by your ancestors? You know, are you here because of some spiritual force, perhaps? Who knows? Salutations to Curious Curmudgeon. We were just talking about you. All good, Curious? I was saying you did raise the interesting show topic yesterday, and I was all on board. And that is a show about thought experiments, where we go through popular thought experiments and basically get people's opinions on the answers to them. It would be a great way to see what our biases are, what just to get to know ourselves better and each other. And also just to see where we have good logical points, sound reasoning, and also, dare I say it, short-sightedness or overly emotional, irrational views. So it will be interesting. I held off on it, though, Curious, because you said yesterday you weren't able to come on today. So I thought, well, there's no point in doing it unless that man's here, because, you know, he's one of the top philosophers on the panel, on the crew. And it would be good to have someone like that on the show, obviously, to guide us a little bit. So we're holding back on that one, bro, until you're able to join us. Yeah. That is Brother Marcus, who is also question mark, who is now Curious Curmudgeon. He reminds me of the artist formerly known as Prince. Next, he'll come on here as a symbol of some sort, maybe just an emoji. Okay. Julio Cabrera. Right. Der Poop says, did you finish the Book of the Dead? We did indeed finish the Book of the Dead. We read the whole of the Tibetan Book of the Dead. Now, there was an appendix at the back of it, which was an additional thing that was found with the Bardo. Is it the Bardo Thedol? Is that his other name? Now, that was just a series of prayers and stuff. It wasn't, it was superfluous to the book. So we didn't read the prayers at the end. We read the actual Book of the Dead. We read it until it said, and here endeth the Tibetan Book of the Dead. So we did. Okay. Pseudo history says logic and reasoning are dead. Be reasonable. Okay. Thank you. Right, guys. The link is there if you want to come on. Yeah. We have our first entrant into the temple
Hello.
tonight. Hello to Yvonne. Ça va, mon ami?
Oui, ça va bien.
Ah, très bien. So what is going on with you? How are you? That is the question. As I said, you can answer that however you want. You can talk about
Hey,
whatever
give
you
me a
feel
second. I
lies
got a
under that.
problem.
Go ahead, sir. How are you?
I'm doing good. You? Or
Well,
is it
yes.
about from your question about where I came from?
Well, the question is whatever you want to talk about under the umbrella of that question, which is how are you? I mean, you can be creative with it if you want. I'm not going to be too strict. I'm not going to rein you in too much. It's how you interpret it. Pseudo history says so. I am so.
No, I think we all come from the what do you call it? Because we are like sunbeam. The sun give life to this planet, right?
Right.
So technically, we're star people.
We're made of dead stars, apparently.
Yeah, but
well.
where do matter come from?
I don't know. That is something I don't know. I do not know how that happens.
Well, it's the same thing with the scientists. They're talking about light and space, like they know everything. But I talked to you about that guy, Ken Wheeler.
Oh, right. Yes.
Yes, that guy know way too much. And
I might looking up right now. I might see if I can find a little video clip of him. Is that okay?
Okay, no, that's good. That's good. I'm doing some cooking right now, so
Oh my goodness! I don't condone this, folks. Please be careful what you say on the. You don't want to get a knock on your door, brother. So
no,
yeah,
it's fine. I'm not worrying about anything.
okay.
Yeah. So anyway, about this, he was talking about light and how the conversion and the diversion of the electron go through the medium. Something to do with inertia.
Oh
And
yes.
yes, and then light is not traveling. It's something else that is traveling, and light is like made from eating an object, right? And when you eat it, it will like turn to ash or something. But in space, that's not it. That's something else. But that's where matter comes from, by eating the ether, because the ether is the medium that we live in, right?
Right.
And everything is made from the ether. That's mean everything is made from nothing. That's where
Yes,
matter.
but I've also heard
Yeah.
alternative theories that there's always been something, and nothing doesn't truly exist. What happens is
Yeah.
there's like a quantum foam. There's like this stuff that breaks down. It breaks down to almost nothing, but not quite nothing.
Yeah, it looked like static on a TV screen kind of thing.
I don't know what it looks like, but yeah.
Yeah, but one video I saw, it was that particle, and that particle split two atom or two particle out of it, and they disappear in a fraction of a second. So how can that be?
I'm looking for videos now. I find a lot of people trying to debunk Ken Wheeler.
Oh
yeah,
yeah,
channel called Ken Wheeler is wrong about almost everything. Now there's a lot of people debunking him. Blah 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 blah.
You know why? It's because it's a Russian immigrated to United States.
Mm-hmm.
And with the communists and the capitalists, they're pretty.
Can you speak Russian? You said you had Russian ancestry, right?
No, I don't speak Russian. I speak French.
Okay, yeah.
But my late ancestry was not Norwegian, but somewhere in the
Somewhere in there.
somewhere in there.
I see. Okay.
And they immigrate into Canada, and that's where I am right now.
Okay.
But I'm trying to figure that out too. That's why I joined to talk about it, because by looking at all the video of the scientists and this guy and where do matter come from? Because we're made of matter. So and the star it's made of gas. So it's kind of complicated.
Is there sound coming through on that?
2 minutes to tell me what he told me, but
Yeah.
No.
he talked to me for
Can
40
you hear him
minutes.
talking?
He just kept saying
Yeah,
the
I
same
hear
thing
him
over
talking.
and over again. Hey, come on, man.
Oh, I got a
Over
phone
and
call. My
over
wife
again,
is calling.
No
How many
problem,
times
mate.
can you
No
say
Be
the
right
same
back.
thing? It reminds me of a cartoon
Hello?
character. The
I
country
don't know
guy.
why.
There's a
I
dog,
better mute him.
Hello?
and
I don't know why.
he
I
talked
can't
like
hear
I
this
same
guy
guy, and
talking on my side.
kept. And the cartoon character go, Billy
Which
boy,
is really weird.
boy. It's like that.
But
Oh,
everyone
my
else can hear
goodness.
that?
That was a 42-minute conversation that could have been 2 minutes. I'm too nice. I should have said,
Well,
I got to get to work. I got
obviously
several
it's an issue
jobs
with
I
me.
actually have to do, but you got to be nice to your neighbors because they
I wanna
look
have to
after your
fix it.
farmland and they make sure there's no trespassers or anything like that. I just had a water filter here somewhere. There it is.
I'll
That
take
goes
it
on
off for
live
now,
stream.
and we will come back to that in a bit when I figured out how to hear it myself. The Poop says life is an addiction. Pseudo history says we are shapeshifters and we evolve alongside the dominant species. We evolve alongside the dominant species. What do you mean by that, pseudo history? Are we not the dominant species? Guys, the link is in chat there if you want. Do come on. I'm just going to look up something here. Right. Oh. Yerfdog says he knows a famous YouTube physicist. Oh, dear. Who critiqued Ken Wheeler's content. There you go. So he's got a lot of critics, including some we know too well. Okay. Pseudo history says we are food for dust mites. There you go. Is that it? Is that all you're going to say? That's all we are, pseudo history. Is that it? In totality, is that all we are? The Poop says there. They're there now. Well, what do you mean? Okay. There's a critique for everything. There really is a critique for everything. There's another way of looking at it. Not for everything, though, surely, the Poop. Surely some things are just a matter of fact, right? Maybe. We breathe oxygen, don't we? Okay. Right. Richard says that he's pretty good, and you, how are you? I'm okay, Richard. Thank you for asking. Doing okay. I just come back from a nice long stroll with my canine chum, and I'm feeling nice and warm inside. And yeah, I'm good. Nice and hydrated. About to have a nice cup of Red Bush tea. Richard, do you want to come on here and talk to us? Do come on if you want to. De Poop says, depends on what you mean by all those words. Oxygen, we. Oh, God. Are you Jordan Peterson? So, right. Well, it depends what you mean by that. You interested to talk about your vids and comments over the past couple of days, or save it for another? Yeah, I think we'll save that for another day, UF Dogs. I can't be bothered, to be honest with you. I fancy just handing the reins over a little bit. But if you want to come on and say something, as long as we don't take over the show with it, you can come on and say something if you want to. No problem, mate. Why not? Why not? I mean, yes, why not? Go ahead, mate. Because otherwise the show isn't going to go anywhere, is it? No one's coming on, so why not? Is anyone a name? Oh, yes, I don't know. Dragon Fruit says hello. Dogs, yes, brother, yes. You know what it's like. And Dragon Fruit says, I have an intriguing theory on magic and manifestation. Dragon Fruit, why don't you come on and lessen some of the intrigue for the rest of us now that you have enunciated your intriguing theory? Why don't you come on and tell us about it? Link is in the chat above. We would love to hear about that. I definitely would.
I'm back.
Hello, Yvonne.
Hello.
Hello, brother. How are you? All good?
I'm good. Good. The wife is coming. All good.
Your wife is coming.
Yeah.
She's coming home, is she?
Yeah, she's coming home.
Oh, okay. Well, sounds like you're ready to go.
No, not yet. Soon, but I'm making supper, so I can talk for about 10-15 minutes.
No, I didn't mean it like that. I meant because of what you just put up your nose, mate. I meant you're ready. You're on all. You're ready for her.
Oh
when
yes,
she gets home.
yes.
So yes, bro. Thank you, Yerf Dogs. So Dragon Fruit is going to come on here. Hopefully, they said they have an intriguing theory on magic and manifestation, and that sounds very interesting indeed.
From the law of attraction.
I don't know. Possibly. Pseudo history says this place runs on the power of imagination. Do you believe in all that kind of thing, like magic, white magic, black magic, all that kind of stuff? Some people do.
All magic came from all the color. Like when you pass the light through a crystal, it divides like a rainbow. And I think that's all they're thinking about, that those are the magic realm. So, like,
thanks to all our members, by the way. I want to say thank you to you all for your help. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Yvonne, you're always talking about this rainbow, and funnily enough, it was mentioned in the Tibetan Book of the Dead that we kind of go back towards becoming part of a rainbow, the spectrum of colors of the light.
Does it say that the rainbow bring bad luck or something?
No, I never heard that.
I think that was the Japanese one.
Dragon Fruit said they're changing their microphone. Give me a handful of minutes and they'll join us. Oh, lovely. That would be great. Thank you, Dragon Fruit. We're looking forward to that. So that's something to await for with great anticipation. Okay, so Yvonne, sorry, you were saying rainbows. You think some people view them as bad luck. I've always thought that they're kind of good luck. Or that they're viewed, not, I don't necessarily believe they're good luck, but they're viewed as kind of good things,
Maybe it's because of the storm.
Because
when
it means It means there's been a bit of rain, first of all, and the sun is shining. So it's the rain is coming to, it's not too bad because it's not a torrential downpour. There is sun
something to
shining
do
through.
with the element, the element of nature itself. Because like I was telling you the other day about the I was trying to figure out who is Sophia and who is the father, and Sophia made Lilith, so or something like
Sophia
that.
made Lilith. Is that what you said?
Yeah, that's what I said. Yes, because Lilith is the golden ratio.
Is that what she is?
Well,
Okay.
she's all that is spinning, and what is spinning.
Okay, I never heard that one before.
Yeah,
I have heard about the phenomenon of the old hag, the crone, I think it's called. It's this apparition that is found throughout the world, in even Africa, definitely the Gaelic culture, and
Gaelic,
a few other countries around the world. I think even in Judaism, they talk about this Lilith-like character, this crone, this old hag who appears strangely out of nowhere and follows people around, and she's involved in all manner of mythical stories, and
like
a lot of something like that. Like in Ireland, they have the banshee, right?
Yes,
that is a kind. Some people attribute that to her being a kind of Lilith,
Okay.
So,
but many people have their own version and their own culture that make their own story.
Yeah. Pseudo history says Santa was my ancestor. Well, in a way, he was, because it was actually your dad giving you the gifts. So yeah,
Ooh, Santa. Right.
It's a joke. He's obviously taking the piss. Pseudo history.
Because
either that, or he is dyslexic and he is a Satan worshipper like the poop here.
Oh, Satan, not Santa.
No, I'm just joking. He did say Santa, but I'm just saying maybe
because Santa is the he live inside of yourself. You know that,
right? Yeah.
Because
well, I was fond of emptying my sack as well before, so maybe I am a bit of a Santa as well. Yeah.
Yeah, that's called the what retention stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was never one for the no fapping.
Nah.
No. So right. We are waiting for the arrival of dragon fruit. Richard, are you coming on here, bro? Pseudo history says they dress up as Santa every year according to Danish tradition. Are you in Denmark, Pseudo? I have been to Copenhagen. I did like it there. Copenhagen. Very nice place, actually. Very nice.
Never been there.
And Richard says Santa is related to Kundalini. It's funny because that Kundalini keeps coming up on things I should be looking into for this channel. So
yeah, it's your inner serpent. Something
right,
to do
with I don't know what it is, but it's one of those topics that it's in the algorithm, I'll keep seeing stuff on it. And
because Santa Claus is the claustrum in your brain, and your vertebrae is the ladder the chrism rise up.
Richard says, are you guys French? No, but I believe I do have some ancestry from out that way many, many years ago.
Is my French accent too strong?
Norman ancestry. They probably shagged a few French. I mean, I know they were Vikings, really, but they did shag a few. They stayed there for a couple hundred years, didn't they? So they must have something in them.
Did you hear that about the Norman, where they really come from?
Well, they were Vikings that settled in Normandy because of Rollo. Rollo was a Viking, and he married into the French aristocracy or something, and he settled. He was given lands in Normandy as a kind of a peace deal, because the Vikings sacked Paris, didn't they?
Yes.
At one point.
Yes.
And it was all part of a kind of peace deal, and they ended up getting lands up in Normandy, and they settled there, and they stayed there for about 200 years.
Yeah. Until they went England.
And then they went on pillaging again.
Yeah.
Yes. So, by the way, we have Dragon fruit is in the house. I am so happy to see. Dragon fruit, welcome. How are you?
I'm doing all right. I just got off of work and I was literally thinking to myself, like, I need to have a conversation about this theory because it's been burning a hole in my head for a couple days. And
Wow.
I sit down at my computer, I pull up YouTube, and the first thing is like the Gnosis show, and I'm just like, I've never seen this. I have to fucking pop in. And
Awesome. Well, welcome first of all. Do you want to
thank you.
introduce yourself? Do you want me to introduce myself? What do you want?
An introduction from you so I can have a bit of an insight into the show.
Okay, fine. Well, this is the Finding Gnosis show. That you can call me DNW.
Mhm.
Okay, that stands for Do Not Watch. That was my kind of old pseudonym. Now, the reason I had that name was because I had a tendency to basically be very, very pessimistic. Okay, and I felt guilt tripped into like I don't know quite if I should be putting this out there, but some people were getting stuff from my cathartic musings. At the same time, I felt guilty about putting it out there. You know what I mean? Since then, my although I'm still not overly enamored with existence, I do think there is merit in trying to pull your socks up and trying to muck in. And even though it doesn't look good, there's not much you can do about that. So you have to act with as much hope as possible. Now the show is called Finding Gnosis because I believe one of the things one should do is literally try and seek knowledge as to what the fuck is going on here. And basically that is what the whole channel is about, trying to find out what is going on. Gnosis is obviously
I have a question.
It means
Just
go ahead.
Do you know what the word omnist is?
Omnist.
Yes.
I don't know, but is it something? I'm going to guess and say it's something to do with knowing, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
It is essentially any school or layer of thought or anything that can be articulated and then internalized. All knowledge is on the table. All things are on the table. There's no bit of knowledge that you should not pursue. So personally, I'm just gonna kind of out myself and give a brief introduction. I'm 24 years old. I'm from the United States, and I have found myself in virtual reality for the past 7-8 years of my life. And while in VR, I have come across a small community of people who practice astral projection, people who practice hypnotism in different forms of just different kinds of magic. I don't want to get too much into it. But I have basically taken the viewpoint of an omnist, which is like I just want to know anything and everything I can get my hands on. And as you were saying, you're coming from a pessimistic kind of like a sense of humor, or like just state of being. I find myself being the complete opposite. I am actually a Zen ex-Christian. Still believe in Christianity and the tenets of Jesus, but I now consider myself more of a Zen Buddhist. And not just
we just read the Tibetan Book of the Dead, by the way. I don't know how that relates to Zen Buddhism. That's Tibetan, right? But I don't know if it's something. So
as far as I understand, the Tibetan Book of the Dead covers the Eastern version of Thoth, essentially, like a god of knowledge that gives and spreads wisdom, and it's documented and stuff. Is that correct? Somewhat along the lines.
As far as I'm aware, it seemed to be that everything was more or less an illusion, and it's all down to yourself to get yourself out of the shit you're in this life, and in the kind of in between state, what they call the bardo, which is the place between death and rebirth. And ultimately in that place you will be shown all manner of horrors and some things that will seduce you into coming back here. So you will be chased by your bad karma, which will scare you and cause you to have anxiety, to make a hasty decision to for example choose a womb to come back to this place. But ultimately what it all is it's an illusion. It's your own mind acting against you, and you have to face it down, be calm, and ultimately seek ultimately go inwards and also go towards the light, which was like there was a brilliant light at the beginning, and throughout the some of the time in the bardo, and it was so beautiful, so amazing that it might lead to one feeling unworthy, because it's heavenly. Do you know what I mean? So a lot of
Yeah.
people, when faced with something so beautiful, it's a bit like being in a nightclub and seeing like the woman of your dreams. We might feel unable to approach her because we might not feel worthy or good enough. But that is an issue of confidence, I suppose. It's not exactly like that because it's spiritual, you know what I mean? So so anyway, it's an issue
But you
of
have to take one thing
it's an
into
issue of
account.
confidence. You have to love yourself to go for something that is good for you. Okay, good for you.
Yes.
Now that is what it was about, and it seemed like there wasn't any God kind of
Figure.
figure really. Ultimately,
Yeah.
it didn't
Okay.
appear that, but it appeared that there was a place to go after, and that was like some kind of weird rainbow light, bright light place where everything is divinely wonderful, and
So yes.
we are a part of that, but it's down to us to reach to it.
Okay, so this much I knew through my study of the
Sorry,
Bhagavad Gita.
Dragon Fruit. I just want to. There is a question. Curious has asked, and that is it like MetaQuest? What type of VR are you?
No,
involved in? Are you
I have been using the Valve Vive for the past like 7 years, and only in the past year have I upgraded to an Index. But it is absolutely in other experience to understand that the machinations of the imagination.
Can you explain to us about your VR life? Because I'll be honest with you, I've never done anything like that. So
Okay,
I would like to know, what do you do? What do you put on a headset? Do you are you in a different? Are you what is this place you go to that you meet people? Do you talk to them, or what is going on? Don't forget, there's some old fogies here as well. I'm a geriatric millennial. I'm a geriatric millennial, bro. So So go ahead.
Essentially, you just have controllers that will track your hand movement, and then there's the option of buying these things called pucks that you can wear on different locations on your body, and it'll track the movement. So I have 3 of these pucks, one for each leg, and then one to attach to the hip. And then because of the headset and the controllers, it does triangulations and basically emulates the entire body moving. So I've had full body essentially the entire time I've done VR. And
okay, so it simulates your body moving, but it doesn't give you sensations in your body, does it? So when
okay, it's mind over matter.
It's mind over. So but I'm sure there are sets out there that give you little vibrations, let's say, or
yes, the controllers themselves will have vibrations, and you can actually, whenever you interact with other models, you can set your controllers to
do you see the question there?
Vibrate. Yeah. Do you meet a VR Valve game?
Do you meet
yes, I meet in VR chat, and more specifically, there's this world that is PC only called the Pug. And the Pug is like a bar for the first 2 floors, pretty normal. But it has a staircase that goes up 5 floors. No other exits except for at the top. And at the top, there is a couch, 4 chairs, a coffee table, and a fireplace, and that's it. It is the most chillax, like there's do you know the saying that places have memories, right? The energies of the daily,
attached to them.
Yes, this is absolutely true for the space in VR. I have had more intellectual conversations in this one room than I could have ever imagined in my entire life. And
I'll take your word for it. I mean, I don't know.
You meet a lot of interesting people.
I'm sure you do. I'm sure. No offense, but I'm sure you meet a lot of people on the spectrum as well. As in
yes.
And by the way, I think they are amazing people. I mean, I've been on. I don't frequent it that much, but I've been on Discord here and there. In the past, not in like I used to go a few years ago into some of the chat rooms, and you'd end up talking to someone, and more likely than not, they were autistic to some degree, and they told you about their autism. But their minds were bloody amazing, and they'd start spewing out facts and figures and opinions on this or that. And it was a little bit like that for me, Dragon Fruit, when I went into these Discord rooms and just started talking to these strangers across the world about this and that. It was definitely mind-opening. So I can kind of say I had a similar experience to that degree, but yours sounds definitely more intense and more impactful.
So one of the key figures, I will absolutely plug this man because I love him, but I've had a bit of drama with him, but it's completely whatever. His name is Messiah Isho. He is a schizophrenic that believes he is a reincarnation of Jesus Christ. And he is by far one of the most spiritually powerful people I've ever met. He had unparalleled ability to not only navigate the astral, but manipulate energy that I have not seen in anyone else.
Okay.
Have you ever are you aware of astral projection and what it is, and
I've
the
heard
astral
about it.
body or the astral vehicle,
I mean,
whatever it's called?
As far as I'm aware, it's a deep state of meditation where you can feel yourself go to somewhere else, and you go out into the cosmos, and you meet like your animal spirits or something. These people who want to help you, and then sometimes you meet dangerous entities, perhaps. And also, there's this library up there. I forgot what it's called. Some library with knowledge, and it's like got everything you need to know in it. And you can go there and hang out and seek wisdom. But like that's what I heard about. I know it's a thing in Wiccan kind of beliefs, right?
The astral is also a place in which one can manifest an afterlife vehicle, and not only an afterlife vehicle, an afterlife home. I personally do not hold this belief, but I do know that navigating the astral is a real thing.
Can I ask you a question? How do you know it's not just your imagination? That it's not just you imagining?
That's what the imagination is. The imagination is the astral, but is having a command and a presence in the astral that only comes with, as you said, a deep state of meditation. But it doesn't require deep states of meditation. It requires practice.
All right. Now, I'm going to ask you one other question on it. Now, the Ashkazic records. Yeah, I think that's what it's called. Gaia
Ashkazic records?
Yeah, that's the library, isn't it?
Metatron's library. Yes.
Yeah.
I am aware of Metatron. Metatron is actually some of my deeper studies into numerology.
The question, Dragon Fruit, before
sorry.
Is you imagine this place, and you said it is imagination, right? Fair enough. But how do we know it's not just in your head? And like you're talking about, you can go on there in the afterlife. That I presume that means you will be connected to others there, right? And have you had any evidence of connection to others living that?
I have multiple stories.
Well, tell us about that, because that would be interesting.
Yes. So this Messiah figure, he was actually the person who taught me how to navigate the astral, and this Messiah figure, he had constructed an entire kingdom, and there were literal sections of this kingdom made of complete gold, complete brass. This part's made of silver. This part is made of crystals. And then he had not only the ability to show my imagination, but he could purposefully say, I'm going to present you something. Now start talking about it. And then, and this is the cool thing about the astral and with a lot of magic, is that it's intuitive. When you question, is this really a part of my imagination? Like, is this real? Is this something tangible? Well, of course it is. It's in the mind. It is mind over matter. It is consciousness.
Okay,
it is
so
presence.
I'm trying to keep up with you, because this is, forgive me, it's amazing stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now, what I will say is, this guy is saying to you that he's feeding you things to say. He's giving you ideas to make you say things, right?
He is,
and he's doing
kind
this,
of.
He's doing this in the astral realm, and What is the proof
so
that he's
we're
doing
actually
it, though?
we're actually speaking to each other over VR. Like we're actually having conversation, but we're both just meditating and then
Right, right.
navigating the imagination together.
I
And
mean,
what's cool,
Dragon Fruit, you could do an experiment here, all right?
Mhm.
And what we could do is this: we could get him on, right?
he won't talk to me anymore.
He won't. Oh, he won't talk to you anymore. Well, 'cause
Yeah, I told
what
you
was gonna, yeah,
there was a bit of drama.
You told me he's a schizophrenic and he has some problems, and yeah. Well, I
Yeah.
hope he's all right. I hope he's all right. And I hope
No,
he-
I love the man.
Yeah.
No, I hope
Well,
I wish him the
the
best.
the thing is, I was gonna say it could be tested in a way because he could, like, in real time, he could email someone and say what he's going to say to you in the astral realm, and then we could see if that happens. You know, if you say it, you know what I mean?
It's less so of hearing, even though auditory is a part of it. Most of it is visual. How someone with aphantasia can experience the astral. I don't have a mind eye. I don't have an inner dialogue neither, only feeling. Exactly. And this is the thing. We would like to say that people who suffer with aphantasia, and I thought I did for a while, but it's less actually seeing, but feeling and being able to use the intuitive knowledge that comes up instead of like genuinely seeing something in the mind's eye. No, it's like, okay, I can feel myself picking up an apple. I can then rotate this apple in my hand and I can now make my hand disappear so I can look at the apple in 360 degrees. And it's just like it's walking yourself through a process that works for you. But when it comes to it's just practice. And the astral is somewhere I have constructed a like an astral home of sorts. But this astral home is something that takes time. And I haven't even finished it yet. And kind of wrapping this back into how it started with this Messiah figure, he had constructed every single house, every single street. He showed me like not, and this is the crazy thing. He will just give you a general saying like, okay, I'm going to pull us towards the castle. Okay. Now in front of you, just tell me what you see. And that's all the probing he would give. Is it possible to visualize in the astral? Oh, sorry, that went away. It's easy to imagine entire universes, incarnate them in the white. Yes, precisely. And this is where practice and honing the astral is part of the deep meditation. And this is where my awe for what this person had showed me is that, like, he had all the details and he didn't give me any of them. We're talking out loud to one another in this meditation, but I'm just speaking out things that he had already created because I was intuitively seeing them in the astral. And I can't explain to you outside of
So
this is a
hold on
personal
second.
experience I've had.
Yeah. No, so he created them in the astral. He didn't create them in this virtual world.
No. So we are just sitting down in a virtual world. Like, he's where he's at in the United Kingdom. I'm here in America. And we were just meditating. And then he's like, hey, I'm going to show you some things. Would you like to see my astral kingdom? And it's one of the craziest experiences I've had. But I can give you another one. This is one of my teen friends that I've met in VR, and I'm only 24, so
yeah.
But I hang out in these worlds, and then one day I walked up to them and I was just like, "Hey, would you like to learn how to astrally project?" And they knew I'm into magic and all this other shit, so they're just like, "Yeah, sure, I'll sit down and try it." For 20 minutes we were just sitting there in meditation, and then in the astral, my entire mind was just set on finding their presence, finding them. And in the astral, in my mind, I was going around to these different orbs of light that were different colors, and I was speaking to them in the astral, going like, hey, is this you? Who are you? And sometimes they would reply, sometimes they would disappear, and like I was just searching the astral in my meditation. I remember distinctly a very bright light appearing in front of me. I approached that light and I go, "Can you hear me?" The light turned towards me. Like I felt the consciousness and the presence turn towards me. And something compelled me to whisper, "Can you hear me?" The second I do that in the astral, the friend I'm sitting meditating with fucking screams and starts running around in virtual reality going, "I just heard somebody whisper to me, what the fuck?" And I just start losing my mind laughing because I have never experienced the ability of reaching somebody in the astral.
Okay, Dragonfruit, and you definitely didn't say it out loud.
No.
You weren't in some deep trance-like state where they could, you started whispering or something.
No, and this is kind of the thing with meditation is that returning to the breath and having a presence like of awareness. I don't know how else to explain it. Like it definitely was not just me whispering out loud. No, like I very consciously made it an effort to whisper in the astral.
Yeah. Okay, that is a kind of real world significance because you had someone react to you, even though it was in the virtual world. They were a real person.
Yes.
Have you got any other examples of real world indicators of your astral projections?
So, me and another one of my spiritual friends, we actually went to this astral library together. My friend was pulled into a dimension by a yogi, and I was left with an emerald tablet. And the emerald tablet has been a recurring theme for me in my my practices. But we both vividly remember walking the hallways together and being able to like open our eyes, see each other in front of, like we can see each other, but we also know that consciously we are next to each other in the astral, and navigating through that was always is very interesting.
Yeah, that seems interesting. Now, what's the significance of this emerald tablet you keep going on about?
Oh, the emerald tablet is something from Hermes Trismegistus, if you're aware of that figure.
The messenger of the gods.
Yes. So the emerald tablet is a tablet inscribed with a language that is indiscernible to man. There's no language that is recognizable as. However, you can read the tablet if you don't think about it, but you feel about it. You use your intuitive heart. What the emerald is supposed to represent is supposed to be green. It's supposed to be the heart chakra. And this symbolism is very significant just because like nothing happens for an accident. Like everything is intentional. The harmonics of sound theory and our general understanding of how atomic structures work, and now quantum physics, in the sense of like everything is vibration, everything is frequency, everything is energy. And this is more apparent than ever in the sense of while I'm in the virtual space, I am having pure consciousness to consciousness connection. The physical body has no mediation over our interaction. The gender doesn't really matter that much. And it's genuinely just who that person chooses to appear as and the energies they emulate.
Yeah, I think I know the answer to this question, Dragonfruit. But Yerf Dogs, he's here, and he says, "Dragon, do you claim all this stuff is in fact real, or just that it feels real to you?"
I can claim that it feels real to me and the people I interact with. And I will then return a question being, two people can experience the same exact thing and come out with two completely separate experiences. What do you then make of that outside of like, you can choose to feel anything about any way? And is your personal experience more important versus the external experience that everyone else agrees with? Or is it all about your internal experience? Because I argue it's all about your internal experience because it ends with you. The only influence you will ever have is you. You can
But it
plant
could
seeds,
literally,
and
what you
can
just
do
said there,
things.
Dragon Fruit, is interesting because it could literally end with you. And I don't mean to be morbid, but when you die, it could end. It may not be anything but your earthly imagination. Do you know what I mean? It might not be anything but inside your head. I think that's the
No. No. Okay. If that's the question, yeah, no, I completely agree. I think the simplest way to explain life is you opened your eyes one day, having never opened them before, and one day you're gonna close them and never open them. And it's going to happen again. It happened this time intuitively. Why won't it happen again?
Right. Okay. Well, I have said such things before, like statistically, in terms of life, at least, it's happened already, so it has a chance of happening again.
Yeah.
Yevdog says
But
he doesn't understand that answer that you
yeah.
gave, by the way. Just so.
Sorry.
By the way,
kinda
don't
talked in
take
circles.
offense here. Everybody is in good faith, and they are trying to understand. So you do take, and it is a good effort. This channel is always an opportunity for people to refine their thoughts. We are quite patient here. So you can refine your thoughts, maybe communicate in a different manner. It's good practice. So feel free to give it another blast there. I'm just going to get a drink from the kitchen. I am listening.
Yeah, okay. So to kind of give a reiteration of that is that I do not believe most of the things I practice. I do believe that I have sensations. I do believe that I can sense and intuitively be aware of things that may not be real at all. However, the fact that it is intuitive and the fact that my senses are sensing it and it is something internal, that means more in the grand scheme of things for the moment than I would say like a quote unquote objective reality.
So it's real
because
to you.
It has to be like, and
all
that's
right,
with
all right.
emotions
I
too.
get what you're saying, Dragon Fruit, but you've made other claims.
Mhm.
To be honest with you, that seem to imply that yes, the feelings etc. are real to me because I am experiencing them, but and I'm speaking as you here, by the way.
Yes.
But I've also had experiences, in my imagination, in my mind's eye, where I have connected with someone else in this earth, though not in the same geographical location, and we have both connected in this imaginary field and communicated to each other without any earthly communication.
Yes.
You have claimed that. So although you've claimed that you have this experience and it is in you, okay, is your experience, you've also claimed that it's significant because you can communicate outside of you with others without any earthly communication between you. Now that is the claim that shows this is something else going on here. This has transcended just your mind. This is something that is beyond you. It's connected.
It has to, it has to be willing and intuitive.
This is the point I believe that maybe Steve is getting to, or Dogs is getting to. Do you claim that is true, that you had actual connection to somebody else and communicated with them outside of your earthly abilities?
Yes.
As in outside of like being able to talk to them on the phone, type to them, whatever it is you could do.
Yeah.
You communicate with them non-verbally, out of your body, without in this astral.
And yes, and
you firmly believe that.
Yes, and I can also give another very definitive experience that kind of validates it for me. So I have a friend, he is a Reiki master. I don't want to say too much more about him, but he has been doing Reiki magic for about 20 years. He's an older guy.
Is that thing where you like rub your hands and energy comes from them?
Yes, kind of. Reiki is a very in-depth practice that actually began with one person, and there's an entire lineage to it. And it's something that I've been indoctrinated to through this man. But before I was indoctrinated, and when we were first starting to get to know each other, I told them about my experiences in the astral, and he's like, "Okay, I have a challenge for you. Tell me who I am in the astral. I'm going to just let you just see me. I'm going to make myself available in the astral. What do you see?" And I told him Precisely. I see a shield with rays of light coming out from behind it, and there are lines that aren't they're not parallel, they're not standard, like they're placed randomly. They're symbols. And on top of that, I see intuitively I see gold and silver aura around you. And he's like, that is very funny, because I have that exact tattoo on my shoulder for specific spiritual purposes. And on top of that, my mother in the astral and my lineage as a Reiki healer, that golden silver aura surrounding me is something that I purposely generate at all times to create an environment of healing and acceptance around me. And he's just like, I'm very, like, he was very impressed that, and he sent me a picture of his tattoo as well. And it's just like, I don't know how else to say. It is an intuitive experience that I have had time and time again, had validation after validation. Can I say that this is replicable and something that anybody could do? Absolutely not. Everybody's on a different journey. Everybody's, doing their thing. But I do believe that we are, in the Hindu version, Krishna. In Christianity, we are God. We are the multiplicity, the plurality. We are the source playing the game of games. And that game of games allows us to be connected in the unconscious.
Fair enough. I've had some strange experiences before where it seemed like my thoughts were premonitions of things, because I've had dreams and woken up and stuff has literally happened within the first half hour awakening that I had dreamt about, but I could put that down not to some kind of spiritual thing. Sometimes I think it could be connected to like this quantum world and the fact that everything is literally connected. Like we're in this like weird existence where particles are rubbing off each other, and there is a butterfly effect. Okay, there is something going on where there's a ripple effect. When things happen, there's waves, and basically it could be that your brain is like intuitively recognizing patterns or subconsciously all the time. Okay, and it could be, as some people might be finely attuned to things, and someone like that, your friend who's a schizophrenic, his brain would clearly be working in a different way to the average individual, right? We did a show on this thing called synaptic pruning, and most people's brains, as they develop, they become kind of pretty much one-dimensional, right? But some of these people, their brains are lighting up everywhere. They didn't develop normally. So who knows? He might have some kind of subconscious ability to intuitively sense things, and then his subconscious brings it to the fore, and it does seem incoherent and rambling to us, but it might be that he is able to recognize patterns. And by the way, this is like it might be you sending out a ripple into the universe and him receiving that ripple. And by the way, I'm not saying this is a fact, but I'm just saying this might be a matter of matter. It may not be spiritual, is what I'm saying. There could be a scientific weird, spooky action at a distance, kind of weird quantum entanglement. Fucking who knows?
Okay, I'm just saying it may not be spiritual. I think it's all together. Like this is kind of the point of Omnis, is like all of that is like together. Oh, you're a Reiki master teacher? Well, namaste.
It would be good if she came on here, actually, because I know that you two would get on well. So yeah, Divine, would you like to come on here, please? That would be good. Yeah.
But oh shit, I forgot exactly what I was gonna say.
No, we were talking. I was saying it could merely be.
Yes.
The physical universe, the matter of the universe, like the kind of particle makeup of it, the subparticle makeup of it. It may not be something intangible, something that isn't there. Like it may not be spiritual.
Yes, well, I would think it's a mix of the two, because the way quantum entanglement works is that we understand that the only way that it becomes quantum is upon the state of it being observed. And the only way it can be observed is if there is a conscious being. and our
Well,
consciousness literally determines the outcome.
I've heard other theories. Dragon fruit.
Yeah.
Have you ever heard of Roger Penrose?
I believe so.
Yeah, I think he's an English mathematician actually, but he has a different theory on the observer effect. He's kind of stating that there doesn't actually need to be an observer. He thinks that when these waves collapse, it's just a matter of course. It's part of their process. They form and they collapse. They form and they collapse. They do things, right?
Mhm.
It's just a matter of it's an absolute fact that they are going to collapse, and it's just a mathematical probability as to when it's going to happen. Now when he explained it, he's obviously the genius. He explained it in such a way that he has a good argument to show that there may not be an observer looking at things to make things happen or to have an effect on them, because they literally happen without an observer. They happen anyway.
Okay.
And it just so happens that humans,
because he's using rationality.
Sorry?
Because he's using his rationality as for his
yeah, but he does
body.
provide. I think I've watched a little bit about him, and I read a few articles on a website about him, and he does seem to be the person who is putting up the best argument against what is a very strange thing. The two slit experiment, when the observer seems to have an effect on the waves.
Yes. So
it's like it is very strange, but to me he's the person who comes up with the most coherent explanation as to why it may not be anything to do with the observer. It's something that it will be definitely worthwhile for all of us to look into. Roger Penrose, I think that's his name. Yeah.
So I did a little bit of reading. So essentially, like that the observer effect doesn't really change the fact that it's ultimately connected by the fact that it's constantly in this in and out state. It's up and down. It's the pulsation. It's duality.
Well, that's thermodynamic, like space and counter space with the inertia. Because everything, the ether itself is inertia. And there's the space and counter space that is the magnetic field that push and pull, and we are in the middle. Like that, the middle of it is called Genesis. This is where life reside into this one universe. Because I listen to what you said, and I love that, but I'm seeing it more as rational because I'm living flesh. I'm matter. So
well, you're not the
mind as
matter
well.
though.
No, but I'm matter and I'm light. I'm both.
Yes.
Yes.
You know what? I agree with
It's
Yvonne.
duality.
Yeah, but there is also a duality within us. It's the mind and body. And the thing is, right? There are the materialists, and then there are the people that say our consciousness is this thing, this intangible thing that is, it's within us, but you can't quite put your finger on it. And the thing is, what is it really? It's the electromagnetic flux within our brains and our nervous system, right? And that is
the torus field.
that is being impacted by the biological shell that it's within. Thing is, it seems to me that people are trying to point out where is the consciousness. The thing is, it's
everywhere.
No, what I'm saying is, the body causes it. The body causes it. It's not one thing. It's the electrical signals reacting with the biology, and it's both of them at the same time. Is what I'm saying. You can't actually say it's one or the other. Is what I'm saying. You know, that's what I think, and I think that it's.
Can I add something?
Sorry.
Can I add something? It's about the Norse. What's it called?
Gaia, by the way, Gaia is coming on. That'd be great. Patricia, if you want to come on, Divine, anybody, please do come on. Go ahead, Yvonne. Sorry.
Okay, it's about the Norse myth and the Matrix, because as in the north, before everything, it was Mother Spider, and she made the web of our universe, and there was a tree of life. What is his name? I think they call it Odin now.
Odin.
Yeah,
The one-eyed mystic, the one-eyed
yeah,
wanderer.
yeah. He gave his eyes for I don't remember,
For
but
knowledge, wasn't it?
I think so. Yes, yes. And
Um,
yes, the spider as that the web we live in is made by the spider.
yes. Now there have been parallels to
Hmm.
Odin and the Norse mythology and the story of Adam and Eve. I believe there are similarities.
Yes, all the
And
same story came from the Greek, and before the Greek, Mesopotamia. So
Curious Curmudgeon says the tree of life is known as
Yggdrasil. Yggdrasil. Yes.
So
Yggdrasil, yes, yes,
but what I'm saying, this
This is
Yvonne,
also a story echoed in Hinduism as well.
yeah, this is it.
yes,
There
yes.
is like you can trace this all back to Indo-European when we first came out of Africa, when we were hanging out together as well
Well,
as like
it's mostly from the Silk Road from India to Greece, and that went back and forth, and they were talking to each other. Because yesterday, when you translate the book of the Tibetan of the Dead, that book was made in the 8th century. That's way further from
yes. Good
the
good
time.
luck to Black Hole. He says he's going to church to pray that he gets hired in the morning. Good luck to you, Black Hole. I hope you land the job, and I hope it goes well for you. Take care, bro. Yvonne, yes, but I'm saying that the fact that there's these common stories, around the world, that they seem to have a
The same
similar
origin.
narrative, yeah,
Yeah, same
uh,
origin.
in their foundation. Yeah, the
Yes.
same origin. But to me, that's not something mystical or proof of their truth. That's just proof that at one point we were a homogenous people who came out of Africa, had our myths and our religions, and then we went our separate ways. And then as we went our separate ways, the stories got lost in the sands of time and changed a little bit, got tweaked by maybe additional new narratives formed from our cultural experiences. But the
Yeah,
thing is, it wasn't anything magic. It was just that we were a people that had come out of Africa with a culture,
yeah,
and that
one
culture
people.
went with the people around the world, and it just so happened to have
But what do
people
you
retain
make of
parts
the
of it.
giant with the people with 6 fingers, 6 toes, and 2 rows of teeth? They
I don't
are
know. I don't.
12
Okay,
to
I've heard.
16
I
so
feet
don't.
tall.
I don't know
wait.
what you're talking
I would
about.
like to jump. I would like to jump in to give my
Okay.
basic understanding. So we are base 10 creatures. We are made in the Fibonacci sequence. There are creatures that are made in the Crystalla sequence, which are made in binary.
Explain what
These
that is. We know what the Fibonacci sequence is. Explain the other
Yes.
sequence, because I'm not familiar with that one. Can you name it
So
again, please?
yes,
I heard about it.
the Crystalla sequence, or it's the Tao Te Ching, the I Ching, the Book of Changes. It is a Chinese thing, and the Chinese base 9 3x3. I don't think we're base 9. Sorry, but base binary is base 12, and
They're silica people.
yes, silicon people. Yes,
Yes,
and
yes.
this is where their entire being is feeds off the sun. The energy of the universe, the harmonics of the earth gives enough energy to sustain the being, because it is not made of carbon, it's made of silicon. And since silicon is a higher transistor and resonator of these energetic frequencies, that is what these beings were made out of. And there's theories that the Anunnaki and the people that have these 6 fingers and are 20 feet tall are made in this binary sequence. However, if we were to be made and genetically alter ourselves from carbon to silicon and replicate this, we too could become as them. And that's my theory.
All right, guys. Now, forgive me, but you're talking about these giants with 6 fingers. Where's the evidence of these guys? Is it some story? Are you talking about some old
Egypt,
biblical reference?
Yes.
South America, Europe, China,
Statues,
Japan.
Have you been
Yucatan?
watching ancient aliens or something on the History Channel? Is it? Where are you getting this from? That's what I want to know.
You can watch
Studies.
studies,
Okay.
but mud fossil. Mud
Oh.
fossil, you can learn about, because when the event happened, maybe it's Ragnarok. I'm not too sure. But
Well,
an
I
event
tell you what,
happened.
guys.
Yes, yes.
I'll give you the power of presentation if you want. If you can find something to read, an article, I'll happily put it up. If you can find an
Yeah.
article.
Give me a second. I'll do it.
Yeah, okay. Yvonne, you were saying, brother, you said that they've been found. There's the evidence, but not like fossilized remains, not skeletons,
Oh,
right?
the evidence all over the earth. You can open your eyes.
Yeah.
It's melting down right now. But with the rain, it melt the dirt, and all the rock that remain. It's all the bean that was there before. You can see animals. You can see people.
Right. We're walking on the dead, as I like to say.
Exactly. Yes. And
Okay.
we're like, I don't want to say we're parasite, but we're from them.
Yeah, so they created us. And they created us to mine gold.
To mine gold, because gold is this.
Yeah, because the human came after.
Yeah.
Why do they want gold? Is it because it's good to transmit? Did they use it in transmission?
Eternal life.
Eternal life.
Okay, so
Alchemy.
Alchemy, yes.
this is and this is where we get the Hermes Trismegistus and the other alchemical Gnostic traditions. All of them stem from Mesopotamia. All of them stem from this Anunnaki history.
Okay, bro. Well, have you found the information you want to
So
share? Then?
I have not, and this is kind of the part about this information that makes it so frustrating, is that it is buried underneath so much
It's in the archive.
bullshit.
It's in the
It's so
archive
much bullshit.
of
Why do you
Smithsonian
think that is?
archive. Ooh,
Why do you think that is?
that they have the evidence.
Why is it buried under so much bullshit?
Because the truth has to be shielded by lies, and that is a quote from he was the general during World War II for Britain. I can't think of his name.
But it started with the Pope way back then in
Winston
the
Churchill.
4th century.
Yeah, Winston Churchill is that
Are you
all
sure it's
good
not-
truth.
By the way, are you sure it's not Churchillian drift? Because I fell victim to that lately. I thought a quote was attributable to him, but it wasn't actually afterwards.
I
But the
do know
game-
that this is a quote from Churchill. This is a reputable source I got it
Okay.
from. And the quote from Churchill is I just said it a moment ago and now I'm blanking.
It's okay.
This is so frustrating.
That's okay.
But I think it started way before Churchill, because the translation that the Egyptian tried to make, and like everybody tried to make their own translation from the old text, like it came from Mesopotamia, that the cuneiform, that's the only written that we have right now, right?
Yeah.
The what?
And,
Sorry, Yvonne. Can you say that again? What are you mesmerized by?
The cuneiform on the clay tablet. Those are the last remaining written texts from what, 6,000 years ago?
Oh, what you that thing? The is it the red? Was it not the Red Sea Scrolls? The tablet. I know the one you're on about. Is this the one they translated the hieroglyphics with? Is it?
Hieroglyphs. Yeah, maybe, but that
The Rosetta. Is it the Rosetta Stone? Is that what?
Yeah,
it is?
yeah. One is the Rosetta Stone. It's got the 3 language on it.
Mm.
But there's the clay tablet that came from.
Okay, guys. Well,
Yeah.
listen, Yerf Dogs has been Captain Skeptic. He's saying there's a lot of oscillating between it's a belief and it's empirically true. So that's just, you haven't won him over just yet, but it's good. It's good conversation, guys. Don't be disheartened. It's good to express your views. And, you know, one thing I will say is you keep saying about true. It's true. What is your version? Like, where do you think, what is truth? Like, to me, I don't know what is going on. And one of the problems I have is I can't quite pinpoint exactly what is true, because I have to be humble enough to acknowledge that I'm merely a blob of jelly with tentacles hanging out of me, some nervous system within this corporeal prison that I'm in, and I'm relaying sensory data to my consciousness. It's coming to me. There's a delay in it, so I never truly experience now. And I may not be experiencing reality as we know it. So I do have to humbly acknowledge I don't think I could ever know what is true. And I want to know.
Nor do I. I'm going to
Oh.
jump on this and be like, I just know that there are people who believe these things. I do not want to say that anything I have ever
Hey, I
said
got this
thus far
working?
is empirically true, because
Yeah,
I
yeah.
don't believe in empirical truths either. I believe in subjective truths.
Okay, brother. Thank you for that. Guys, I want to welcome in Gaia the Sage. Gaia, welcome to the show, brother. How you doing?
Oh, doing great. Nice to be here.
Nice to have you with us. I'm really happy you've come, because you've commented in the comments quite a lot, and yeah, it would be good to hear your thoughts on things. Curious says, "Truth is what the divine reveals." There you go. Gaia, what is going on? What do you feel compelled to say?
My goodness, man, what is there to say? There's freaking an infinite variety of topics to discuss here. So,
Absolutely.
anybody freaking
The
gets a
way that
starting
my
point,
ice
I'm
cream
going-
melts on a summer day.
Right, Gaia. Was there anything that particularly caught your attention that the guys were talking about here? We started off with astral projection, and then we've gone on to the Is it what they called the Akhenazi, or what they called the
Anunnaki.
Akashic records.
Anunnaki? Those
Oh,
weird
Anunnaki. Yeah.
Anunnaki giants that came here to shag our misses. I mean, what is going on?
It may be
My
have
goodness.
a big war in space, because there was another planet like the between Mars and Jupiter.
Mm-hmm.
There's a asteroid field, but there's what you call it? There's a big moon there, and there's a bunch of rocks. There was a planet there before. The 10th planet.
Yeah. Okay, but Yvonne, with respect, bro.
Yep.
Guy is new here, and I just want to ask him what is going on, Guy. Can you tell us what is going on? What the hell is going on in this crazy existence?
Well, I think there's a lot of dimensionality at play here. I think that the theory of post-human aliens being God is not discussed enough.
Can you say that again? Because I got distracted by Patricia making me laugh. Go ahead.
Oh, it's
Gaia.
all good. I was saying that that people don't often talk about the theory that post-humans are aliens, and that these post-human aliens are God or gods, or that any of these deities or spirits that we attribute to within, mythology or religion or spirituality, etc.
So hold on a second. You said post-human. So you saying that humans end and they become
We are
gods?
we are the post-human.
Oh,
We
no,
are the
I think
post-human.
I think we are in the process of becoming the post-humans. We're in a state of
Do you believe
transhumanism
we become
now.
cyborgial kind of AI beings that somehow can time travel in the future, and that's what we see? What we see are actually ourselves, or whatever we evolve into in the future, coming back to teach us a lesson.
Yes, I do believe that. I just think that people make it too simplistic. We are these cyborg things. They don't relate it to ancient aliens and these technologies we have no understanding of. How a cell phone back in the day would have looked like magic. It's the same level of technology. It's so far ahead of our times that it's just near incomprehensible to even imagine.
I got a question. Have you seen the show called Pantheon?
I have not seen that one yet. No.
Pantheon
David,
is
do you want to
amazing
come
show.
on? David says, "Am I aware of Danny Shine's news today? Today is a very sad day." No, I don't know, Danny.
No.
David, sorry. I hope it's not too bad. I hope everything's okay. Do you want to come on and tell us, David? We all love Danny Shine. So Jabu says, "Aren't we putting the cart before the horse? We are barely human." We are barely human.
No,
my
No,
God.
I
that's
think
the whole thing, though, man, is that we view time as an arrow, as this straight line. We
Well,
don't
he
see it
makes
as
a good
It's
point.
wiggly
He makes a
wobbly.
good point. We certainly haven't lived up to the title Homo sapiens, if you know what sapient means. We definitely haven't lived up. That is a dirt poop. I applaud you. You know, he
Definitely
makes a good
two
point there.
different areas to view on that one.
Yeah,
Based on the incredible true story.
Yeah.
that is a very good point to poop. Congratulations. I like that.
No, I like that one.
What would we be really if we were true to our name? I suppose we'd be like Homo shitheads or something. Yeah. So guys, I see something in the. Someone's trying to present something. I don't know what the hell that is. It looks like a tarot card or something. Do you want me to put that on the screen? Whoever is.
Oh,
sharing
that's
that?
me. I was trying to put an image on my icon, but
There
this
you
is
go.
Abraxas.
Oh, do you want me to take that off now? Let me know
Oh,
if
you
you want me
can-
to take.
Yeah, you can take that off. I wanted
What
to put
the hell is that?
Abraxas with a chicken head? Like, what is that, rooster head?
Yeah, it's a rooster.
He has a whip with snake feet.
Yes.
The
That is
snakes
the
make sense. I've just never seen a lot of rooster in mythology.
because the rooster came from Asia.
That's what I was
The-
figuring.
It's three like the rooster is Asia, like the Chinese. The body is the Greek, and the leg is Mesopotamia or the Arab.
No.
It's all the mix of all religion in one.
That's some syncretism there, man. That's a mixture.
Yeah, it's a mixture of all religion. And that was like in before Christ.
Oh yeah, it looks like you even got the duality, the sun and the moon together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. So I have no idea what the hell that is, but do you think that has any real world significance, Yvonne?
No, it's got erased by the order of the Catholic and the Abrahamic religion.
Okay, cool. Well, thank you for sharing that. I'll take it off now. 1 second.
Okay.
There we go.
Sorry.
No problem at all. No problem at all. Did you want to change your icon? Is it on your?
Yeah, I wanted to put this as my icon.
I would like to elaborate on me bringing up the show Pantheon. In the show Pantheon, they cover uploaded intelligence and what that human society looks like, where we have spirits who have ascended into living in machines. And it is at least, in my opinion, it's a very likely lens into what the future looks like. But it's also unlikely. Like, we have no idea what the future looks like. But I think uploaded intelligence and humans, the rate of progression is only going to accelerate. And if you know Terence McKenna and his novelty theory, the universe is going.
When you bring up a theory, please explain it. Give us a synopsis, because not all of us.
So, novelty theory from Terence McKenna is essentially the universe prefers order over disorder, and we can just look around and say, well, yeah, that's pretty apparent.
Yes.
So, with this order, it's going to prefer something new, something unique, something novel. Right, and this is where novelty theory is like the most entertaining outcome is going to be the most likely. Whatever is like
we're living it. We are living it. It's order and chaos. Our
yes,
body,
absolutely.
Our body is order and chaos.
Yeah, and novelty does not imply good or bad. It's literally just whatever is a unique situation. What is the most entertaining outcome?
I don't know about that theory, though. Sorry, I was in the other room for a second, but
yeah.
Is it not the case that it is a duality? There's order and dismantling. You know, it seems to be both.
Well, this is also
50,
just like this is also where like dropping the labels and just seeing things as they are. Just they aren't good or bad. They just are.
No, I completely agree with you. That's an aspect of experience. You know, you can't research your way out of this duality versus non-duality conundrum.
Right.
You know, you have to experience that yourself.
It's all the feminine and the masculine fighting together to make sense of it.
Right. Patricia, do you want to come on here, darling? Richard, anybody else? David, come on here. Yes, I just looked up David, Danny's news, but I have a great intuition, and he is going to be okay. I do know that. He's going to be fine, and he's over the worst of it, I think. So good luck to him. We don't want anything to happen to Danny Shine. We don't want bad things to happen to him. We don't want bad things to happen to anybody, and we wish him well. Gaia, what is your spiritual view then, if you have one?
Oh, that's an interesting one. No, I've I spent the past 10 years going through absolute mental hell to discover my ontology, my faith system that has worked for me, which is transdualism. And you won't really find much about it online. There's only one academic article online through the gender theory perspective, but it's basically an offshoot of non-dualism where the order and the chaos, you can work with both of them. You see it as a divine dance. You don't see this as this
Is it
battle.
like a state of androgyny, a state of being everything?
Well,
I'm
it is ironic
actually
because I'm actually a
androgynous.
non-binary person too, so I'm able to
I'm a
view
male.
this from multiple perspectives. I'm a non-binary male. I lean into both my non-binary identity and my masculine identity, and I do the research from the philosophical lens, the gendered lens, the ontological lens, any lens possible. I research it.
Right.
Aww.
Now I want to tell Yvonne how to change his picture.
Okay.
You click the three dots.
Yes.
And underneath this big screen, there's a you can see your name and your
edit name,
edit audio avatar. Yeah.
I click on it. I click on the image,
and then you go to the plus, and it should come on. Yeah.
To the plus.
I can do it anyway if I want to. There you go. I've done it. There's one of my old avatars. So Patricia says she's just going to listen tonight. Okay. Well, okay, Patricia. Well, it's lovely to have you listening.
It's not coming on.
No.
You just changed your picture though.
I did, yeah.
Yeah.
It's not coming on.
Very strange. We have UF Dogs join the show. UF Dogs, welcome, sir.
Good morning, gentlemen. How you doing?
Very well, thank you.
Sorry, I'm just sucking a lozenge. I think I've either got a cold or some hay fever or something.
Oh, I can hear it. Yeah.
Okay. I will stop doing that then.
No. I mean, I can hear your cold. Sorry. Yeah.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah. I hope that you get well soon. Might have a hot whiskey with a few cloves in it, maybe.
Hey, now you're talking my language.
So, what is going on with you? You felt compelled to come on here. I know that. By the way, guys, you'll learn a lot here from UF Dogs as to regards to sharpen your thoughts. You'll
learn a lot from me. How much?
But in it, don't take it to heart. It's just questioning.
Look, I mean, I'm very skeptical of this stuff, but there's an interview with Billy Connolly, which I hope you all know who he is.
Yeah.
And he made a really wonderful point, I think, which I thought was quite valuable. He was always very skeptical of this stuff too, but then he started going on, I don't know, retreats or visiting witch doctors and stuff, and in their natural environments kind of thing. And his take was, obviously it's not true, but maybe we need more of this kind of stuff. And I mean, it's a bit of a paradox there, but I'm warming to that idea, I think, as I progress through the years.
What's wrong with a bit of meditation? What's wrong with What's wrong with a bit of meditation and escapism into astral planes? What's wrong with? You know what I mean? I can see.
Well, that's right. I mean, meditation on its own isn't. I mean, I don't consider it to be spiritual or otherworldly.
No.
But that's just me. That's just one guy. But I just worry sometimes. Like I said, I didn't want to battle this out in the comments, but I just worry sometimes that a lot of people involved in this stuff they mix up their language. Like they'll say, well, obviously this is just my own personal belief. It's just what I personally believe. But then they'll start saying things like, well, as a matter of fact, or it's true that humans could become creatures with 6 digits and all that kind of stuff. And there's a lot of mixing of that kind of stuff, which bothers me. But I think there's something to be said with aiming for better quality language, I guess you could say.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a useful thing. It does keep one. It's satisfying as well as a personal project to try and be more accurate.
Oh, right.
You know?
That's right. I mean, yeah. Intrinsically, I was going to say intrinsically, I don't see anything wrong with it, but I'd probably go further. I'd say intrinsically, there's probably a lot of value in it.
Yeah.
But
Curmudgeon is saying, Yerf Dogs, try a detox night with hot celery juice and a squeeze of lemon. There you go.
no, it's all right. I'll go with the whiskey route.
By the way, I have to say what my reach is garlic and ginger paste, right? Hot boiling water, just freshly boiled kettle with garlic and ginger paste, turmeric, cloves, and you can chuck in a Lemsip as well if you know the lemon and paracetamol. And even a vitamin C tablet as well, the effervescent ones, effervescent. Yeah, that's what I take, and it does help.
And that stuff's all that's how whiskey's made, right?
Yeah. I suppose you can chuck a slice of lemon into your whiskey. Why not? I
mean, that's all. I mean, yeah.
Curious Curmudgeon says, who or what dictates what is better when it comes to language? Yeah.
That is
awesome.
the question, man.
Okay, and this is also where I say eventually we will all have the Christ consciousness, and we will all be walking the astral as we exist. And what I mean by that is that we will not need to communicate using languages. We can just emotionally and intuitively communicate to one another. And this is the kind of a transhumanist idea because,
totally.
Yeah, and I personally I view Revelations and the coming of Christ being we will all walk the earth as he did. We will all believe and feel and sense as well, and not just as he did. The quote John 10:13 I think is not only will you do the works that I did, but you will do better. You'll do greater and better acts. So it's just like I have a utter faith and belief that we are going to be more magical, more spiritually intuitive, more in touch with God than even Yeshua was.
Unless it's all controlled by the Xenobot. Because that's what we.
Can I ask you though? Would you be sad if you found out you're wrong and there's nothing?
Oh no, there's 99.999%. There's nothing.
No, but if there is literally nothing, as in if there is no,
well, it's better to have the faith than not, in my opinion. It's better to believe and act as if truth is like, I don't know, it is subjective. I will walk this earth and be as good of a person as possible because if karma is real, I would rather act as if it is real. If Christianity is right, I would rather act as if a good person. Like I would hedge my bets towards good than evil. Pascal's and what that wager is literally subjective.
That's Pascal's wager, basically.
Yeah.
All right, my perspective on that.
I just find Pascal's wager a bit ridiculous. Like it's.
Oh really?
It shows
okay.
it, well, no, because it stinks of disingenuous. It's disingenuine, isn't it? I mean, it's like I get the theory behind it, but I'm thinking like if you are choosing faith, right, because you're thinking that the alternative is possibly worse. Like it's not really faith. I don't think that's an act of belief. Do you know what I mean?
I believe in doing good.
Yeah, that to me, Pascal's wager, although it makes sense from a strategic point of view, I think it's a very shallow thing. It's like it's not a true belief. I think it's a kind of tactical approach. It's not saying I truly believe. It's saying, look, I'll say I believe, so I'm saved. You know what I mean?
Oh, I see where you're coming from.
Yeah, well, okay. Yeah. How else would you expect a person that believes something to do outside of tactfully and engaging in it?
Having said that, I will backtrack a bit and say I've also heard people say, fundamental Christians saying that they don't know for sure, but they choose belief. So there is that, as well. I know that there are religious people like that who say, look, we can't know for sure, but we choose belief. Even though they truly can't know their beliefs are correct. I've heard. Sorry, go ahead, Steve.
I'm just going to say it's that kind of language which bothers me a little. Like, we choose our belief. I don't think we do. I think our beliefs choose us. Like, a belief is something that we subscribe to. Like, it's a part of who we are. A belief. I don't think people choose their beliefs.
I think the beliefs are transjective. I think that it's a relationship between our beliefs and ourselves.
Yeah, but if you take if you're born in one religion, it doesn't mean you're gonna believe them, because inside of yourself, you're gonna feel what is true, like by action. And if the action of the other is wrong to you, you're gonna feel it, and then you're gonna direct yourself towards something else.
John 14:12. My bad. I looked up the wrong verse. No. I quoted the wrong verse.
Patricia says, "How can you be sad if in the end there is nothing?" Yeah, she'd be quite okay knowing that. Yeah.
If you're not in that Buddhist mindset, I do believe it can be quite sad.
Sorry, say that again.
Oh, if you're not in that Buddhist mindset of non-detachment, it can be quite sad.
Yeah. No, I know a lot of people who would be sad if there's nothing at the end.
Oh yeah, no. For me, it was a process of experience. I went through the new atheism and the pantheism.
You won't. Yeah, what I'm saying, Patricia, you won't literally be sad at the end because you won't exist. But if there is nothing,
that's what you meant.
No. What I mean is, if you found out there was nothing, if you literally found out for sure there was nothing, would you be sad? That's what I mean.
Yeah. All right.
But they do is reincarnation in the Buddhist tradition.
Right.
Some people do come back. They remember.
Some people claim they've come back. Some people claim to remember.
Yeah.
Oh, I've had a past life experience. The first time I did hallucinogen, I did salvia divinorum, and I experienced the past life of a man in the 70s, used car salesman, and I passed away surrounded by loving family and friends. So it's fascinating stuff.
I personally don't dip my toes into that stuff, but I am aware that it can be quite therapeutic.
Okay, but Guy, I want to hear a little bit about that now. You said you had a past life experience. Can you verify that it was true somehow? Can you tell us a little bit more about it?
Oh, I could tell you my experience about it, but I didn't do no research online. I didn't have the name of the guy that passed away. I couldn't actually do the scientific, research behind it.
Tell us about the actual experience and how intense it was. How long did you have it for, etc., etc.?
Oh,
what age were you? What state of mind were you, etc., etc.?
Oh my goodness. Well, I was a young teenager surrounded by a whole bunch of other teenage idiots, and we, got the salvia thinking it was some party drug because of the way it's marketed and everything. I had a friend load up a whole dang bowl for a whole gram of this stuff, and 60x, some strong stuff. And I smoked this, and suddenly the earth started vibrating. I started falling through the earth. I became one with the earth. Then I fell through the earth, shot through outer space, hyperspeed status, then broke through the dimensional barrier, entered the Akashic Records, met Metatron, freaking had a past life experience, then had a memory of myself in the womb. Like, it was intense. It was intense beyond all belief. I've had people that have had years of experience with DMT called me a liar and say that it wasn't possible to have experienced that strong.
I like what Kamojian just said there. As an aside, I want to go back to you, Guy, but he just said, I think beliefs are illusions of the self. We can transform and transcend. Yeah, I agree. That's one of my beliefs, actually. As I've kind of been trying to say, that things are just our beliefs, and we can actually choose other beliefs out.
But you guys know where Metatron come from?
Sorry?
The word
sacred
Metatron.
Geometry.
Yeah, from the number 13 in the Greek sacred geometry.
We have a
which is 4 in numerology, which is the creation number. Like not creation, but
we have the co-pilot in the skeptic warplane coming along, dropping bombs. You know,
it was not just a drug.
on us
Well,
all.
nothing is just a drug.
You
A
know.
drug has to be ingested by someone.
My goodness. It's one of those things that people that haven't had experience with psychedelics don't
Yeah.
know, that phenomenon of that hyper real state, where suddenly, the illusion becomes the reality and our reality becomes the illusion.
Yeah.
D Prophet says, "Our God is an awesome God. Our God is an awesome God, and he reigns from heaven above." D Prophet, by the way, it does seem he is more and more becoming in line to be a kind of TV pastor, evangelical guru online. I will see him on the God channel one day with his shiny pearly whites and some pristine shirt and a lovely pinstripe suit, shiny shoes.
I
It's
wonder
going to
what the
happen.
scandal's going to be.
10, 20 years later when he's escaped to Mexico. Yeah. D Prophet, you'll be thankful for being able to cross a border then, but you'll be go the other way. Yeah. You won't be complaining about border crossings then, D Prophet. So D Prophet, by the way, do you want to come on, my friend? Come on here and talk to us. Anybody in chat, do come on. Gaia.
I'm just gonna start sharing some images.
Okay, 1 second though. Gaia, don't you dare say I did. Oh yeah, Kenneth, what's his name? That guy? Is it Kenneth Copeland or something? That guy?
Oh God.
Don't you dare say I did. COVID-19. Yeah. You are okay.
Mega pastors and their airliners.
Yeah. Gaia, I want to hear about the actual life that you had, because I didn't quite hear that. Sorry, I didn't quite hear. What life did you experience? You said you experienced your past life. Tell me exactly about that.
Well, it was really like a dream, really fragmented. I didn't experience, this guy's birth to his death. I only experienced his life, from his middle aged onward. The decades of his service, in this used car salesman experience, and his life experience with his families, and then the end, where he's in the hospital surrounded by his loved ones. So. It was interesting, but it was definitely more of a snippet, more fractional. But that sort of seems to go online with my experience with lucid dreaming and hallucinogens.
Right. We have Amanda Gribben in the chat. Amanda comments on my posts occasionally on my videos, but she never comes into the live chat in here. Amanda, do you want to come on here and talk to us? That'd be good. Do you want me to show something then? Dragon fruit.
I just wanted to show the Kundalini because you were talking about it earlier. I just have a simple illustration on it.
Is it the one with? I have 2 colors here. One is white, one is yellow.
It's the white one.
Okay. There you go. Right.
Yes.
Tell us about this then. I'm just going to move the banner because it's taking away a little bit at the bottom. There you go.
So this is a simple illustration of how to channel Kundalini. And the way Kundalini works is it starts at the top of the head, the crown chakra. Then it goes down the spine, passing through the different chakras, the throat, the heart, the solar plexus, the gonads, and then the base of the tail being the root chakra. And then once it reaches the root, there is a tightening of the taint. There is an adjustment in posture and energy and vibration, and getting the energy to come down from the mind is very easy. That's just, most of the meditation is reaching a place of peace. And once you reach a place of peace, and you can then invoke the raising of your vibration and the raising of your Kundalini. And when you raise through the Kundalini, you have to go through the chakra, going through the essentially what each one represents has a test to it. And if your body is not pure in certain ways, or your ego is caught on certain ways of thinking or ways of feeling, you will have blockages in your kundalini, and it will either not be successful, or whatever state and trance you ascend to will be, if not beneficial, it will be degradatory to invoke that state of being. But if you can successfully raise your kundalini all the way through, it will go up the spinal column all the way back through the base of the spine. But instead of going through the brain and out through the chakra, it goes forward through the pineal gland, and then out through the cerebrum, which is the front of the head, through the right side. And all of this is encoded in Revelations 5 in the Bible. This is there are so many different religions that have Kundalini meditation, being Zen Buddhism, Hinduism, what have you. Kundalini is a very researched and very real thing. So much so that the CIA has an entire document on it.
Very well researched and real thing. Be careful.
Yeah, it's a very real thing. Kundalini is one of the most researched things in the world. But be very, very careful with it, because if you are not prepared, as I said, I personally, I don't do Kundalini. I do yoga, but I have not purposefully gone down this path on purpose, because I know I'm young, I'm dumb, and I am not ready for this state of being.
What do you mean it's well researched?
The CIA literally has an entire document that was released about Kundalini, about astral projection, about a lot of these things from not only the Monroe Institute, but other places.
That doesn't really answer the question, though. Like you said, it's well researched.
Yes.
Like, are you saying this is, like, for example, are you saying that the information that you've presented on that slide, that all of that is true?
Yes, the scientifically there is a
scientifically. So scientifically, to me, says that there's been a process of falsification. Has that happened?
Yes.
Okay.
So scientifically, there is a fluid that will go down the spine, through the nervous system, and the center of it. That network has the ability to transport fluids, and
Oh, we lost you there, brother.
Yeah.
Yeah, hopefully he comes back.
He's still talking.
Yeah, we can't hear you, brother.
The CIA is muting him.
What?
The CIA is muting him.
Yes. But it's not the CIA per se. It's more likely DARPA.
It's the Archons.
Right.
It's the Archons, guys. It's the Archons.
No,
They
because
found us.
I know what he's talking about, and it's from the Hindu text. And the CIA took over.
D-Prophet, are you coming on here?
That's brilliant.
D-Prophet!
That is brilliant.
She made that plane so cheap, I just had to buy it.
My goodness.
Is that Nixon?
No, it's Kenneth Copeland. He's an evangelical preacher.
Kenneth Copeland.
Yeah, that was for our friend D-Prophet.
Well played. Well played.
But we're waiting for Dragon Fruit to come back. I don't know what's happening with Dragon Fruit. That is really bizarre. The man is probably.
I put comments in the private chat on the StreamYard. Yeah. My microphone died.
We can put it back on. There you go. Sorry, as you were, brother. As you were.
So yes, it is a provable fact that there is a fluid that travels from the pineal gland down the spinal column, down to the base of the spine, and then all the way up. And
by the way, Dragon Fruit, you just shared the CIA file. Do you want to present that on your screen as well?
Not particularly, because it's a very lengthy study. There's a lot to look into it. But the end all of this document is that there are two hemispheres of the brain, the left and the right side. And the right side is that of which the logical and invoking part of the brain is. It's the masculine side of the brain. The left side is the feminine. And this is why the heart's on the left side of the body, because we being dualistic beings have to be in the state of up and down, and Kundalini is just a deep meditation in which invokes a higher vibration of being. And this is a process that is measurable. It is something that that CIA document goes heavily into depth about, goes into the brain biology, and then goes into the processes of how to invoke it. But I do not recommend that you practice this unless you have done many years of meditation, or you're a psychonaut. If you're a psychonaut, go crazy. But you probably do that anyway.
So I have a question. I've got that paper in front of me. Does that paper prove the claims that you've just made, or does it describe them?
It's a CIA document on the gateway process and how to raise your vibration.
Does it describe is it descriptive, or does it actually or does it prove the claims that you've just made?
By the way, Curmudgeon, is the document named Analysis and Assessment of Gateway Process? Sorry, just answer that for curious Curmudgeon, because he's okay. There you go. Now the question was, sorry, I shouldn't have butted in there. Sorry.
No worries. I'll say it again. Does that document describe certain phenomena, or does it prove the claims that you've just made?
So
about chakras and all that kind of stuff.
So it doesn't use the specific vernacular I did, because this is more of a scientific view and less of a personal thing. This is completely a science-based thing that does not use spiritual language. The spiritual language I was using is more so of my personal understanding of the Kundalini yoga, and less so of the process of the gateway process. The gateway process is a channeled Kundalini into the astral, and but the thing is that CIA document uses Kundalini and the biology of which Kundalini functions, but uses it towards astral projection instead of awakening. But it's the same biological processes that allows it to work.
Yes, I have to read the document before making an informed response.
What did they do? What did they do with this? You must know the kind of experiments they did if you read the document. What experiments did they do? Or what happened because of the experiments?
Remote viewing is the most prevalent. They can, as far as I understand, they can listen to conversations and yeah, I mean it's just astral projection, and it's very
they certainly can. They certainly can. Hello to all the CIA listening right now.
The astral spying.
Yeah. Everybody's on the grid. Everybody's on the grid, and the project is called the Stargate Project. It's building one in Texas right now, and there's two more buildings that will be built on the US. But that's the first building. But everybody's on the grid. Everything you say will be recorded into it.
You know, this paper isn't actually that long. It's only 29 pages, so we could probably have a little quick speed read of it if you want. What do you think?
Speed about what?
I'll bring it up. I'll bring it up if you want. Share screen. Where is it? There you go. Can you see that? Are people here? Yeah. Right, 1 second now. Just try and put this like this. There we go. Do you want me to read it a bit?
It's up to you.
I'm skimming it at the moment. It looks like it's a document which
I see it now.
repeats claims. My guess is that perhaps the CIA might be interested in looking into further.
So basically, yeah. So you're tasked. You've tasked me to provide an assessment of the gateway experience in terms of its mechanics and ultimate practicality. As I set out to fulfill that task, and it soon became clear that in order to assess the validity and practicality of the process, I needed to do enough supporting research and analysis to fully understand how and why the process works. Okay. I had to. Okay. I had to be able to construct a scientifically valid and reasonably lucid model of how consciousness functions under the influence of the brain hemisphere synchronization techniques employed by Gateway. Okay, I suppose we should really look up the Gateway experience, like what that is. I mean, it doesn't really. Does it say it in this?
So the gateway experience is just like audio tapes of like I don't know, I don't want to say hypnotism, but
here we go. So here we go. There is a thing here. In order to describe the Monroe Institute technique for achieving altered states of consciousness, the gateway experience involving brain hemisphere synchronization or hemisync, the most effective way to begin is to briefly profile the basic mechanics which underlay operation of related methods such as hypnosis, transcendental meditation, and biofeedback. It is easiest to effectively describe the gateway, describe what the gateway is by beginning with a short description of those associated techniques. Okay, so hypnosis, according to the theories of psychologist Ronald Stone and the biomedical engineering models of Itzhak Bentov, hypnosis is basically a technique which permits acquisition of direct access to the sensory motor cortex and pleasure centers and lower cerebral emotional portions and associated pleasure centers of the right side of the human brain following successful disengagement. I mean, we know what hypnosis is. Okay,
you can jump to the conclusion that pretty much clarifies what the document is. It says there's a sound and rational basis in terms of physical science parameters for considering Gateway to be plausible in terms of its essential objective. So it's basically saying, yeah, this stuff
there's something in it.
There's something, there might be something to it. That's basically what the paper is saying.
I just want to look at what transcendental meditation is. Transcendental meditation works in a distinctly different fashion. In this technique, intense and protracted single-minded concentration on the process of drawing energy up the spinal cord, just like you were showing us in that picture, wasn't it, Dragon? Ultimately results in what appears to be the creation of acoustical standing waves in the cerebral ventricles, which are then conducted to the grey matter in the cerebral cortex on the right side of the brain. As a result, according to Bentov, these waves will stimulate and eventually polarize the cortex in such a way that it will tend to conduct a signal along the homunculus, starting from the toes on and up. The Bentov biomedical model, as described in the book by Lee, entitled Kundalini Psychosis or Transcendent States, that the standing acoustical waves are the result of the altered rhythm of heart sounds, which are occasioned by prolonged practices of meditation. Okay, but what are they meant to do? I mean, it's, I don't know. Okay.
Spy on the Russian.
So I think.
Okay, hold on. The cumulative effects of these vibrations may be able to trigger a spontaneous physio Kundalini sequence in susceptible people who have a particularly sensitive nervous system. Okay, and then there's a biofeedback. This is the last thing. This is the other one. The third consciousness altering methodology, which can be briefly described as biofeedback. Biofeedback is somewhat unique in that it actually employs the self-cognitive powers of the left hemisphere to gain access to such areas of the right brain as the lower cerebral motor and sensory cortices and also pain or pleasure centers, instead of suppressing the left hemisphere as is done in hypnosis, or largely bypassing and ignoring it as is done in transcendental meditation. Biofeedback teaches the left hemisphere first to visualize the desired result and then to recognize the feelings associated with the experience of successful right hemisphere access to specific lower cerebral cortex pain or pleasure or other areas in the manner needed to produce the desired result. Okay. For example, if the subject wishes to increase the circulation in the left leg in order to speed up healing, he may concentrate with his left brain on achieving that result while carefully monitoring a digital thermometer connected to the left leg. When the concentrated effort begins to achieve success, the digital thermometer will register an increase in the temperature of the left leg. At that point, the subject can mentally, left brain, associate the sensations experienced with the result achieved and can begin to emphasize by memory recall the same process to cause its strengthening by affirmation and repetition. In this way, pain can be blocked, healing can be enhanced, malignant tumors can apparently be suppressed and ultimately destroyed, the body's pleasure centers can be stimulated, and a variety of specific physiological results may be achieved. In addition, biofeedback may be used to greatly accelerate achievement of deep meditative states, particularly for beginners who experience. And then there's gateway and hemisync. Okay, now that we have briefly profiled the basic mechanics of the principal techniques for altering or expanding consciousness, which share some of the objectives and or methods employed in the gateway experience, we may proceed to focus on what that technique actually involves. Fundamentally, the gateway experience is a training system designed to bring enhanced strength, focus, and coherence to the amplitude and frequency of brainwave output between the left and right hemispheres, so as to alter consciousness, moving it outside the physical sphere, so as to ultimately escape even the restrictions of time and space. The participant then gains access to the various levels of intuitive knowledge which the universe offers. What differentiates the gateway experience from forms of meditation is its use of the hemisync technique, which is defined in a monograph by the Monroe Institute trainer Melissa Jagger as a state of consciousness defined when the EEG patterns of both hemispheres are simultaneously equal in amplitude and frequency. Although hemisync seems to be rather rare and of only short duration in ordinary human consciousness, Melissa Jagger, or whatever, however you say it, says that audio techniques developed by Bob Monroe can induce and sustain hemisync with the Institute's basic Focus 3 tapes. She also notes that studies conducted by Elmer and Alice Green at the Menninger Foundation have shown that a subject with 20 years of training in Zen meditation could consistently establish hemisync at will, sustaining it for over 15 minutes. Dr. Stewart, a psychiatrist and a research associate of the reports that in our studies of the effect of the Monroe tape system on the brainwave, we have found that the tapes encourage the focusing of brain energy. It can be measured as with a light bulb into a narrower and narrower frequency band. This focusing of energy is not unlike the yoga concept of one-pointedness, which we may translate in Western terms as single-mindedness. The doctor goes on to observe that as the individual gets into the tapes beyond focus 3, there is a gradual increase in brainwave size, which is a measure of brain energy or power. Okay, where are we? Okay, lamps versus laser. Okay. Jaeger uses a metaphor to help clarify the process involved in the use of hemisync in the gateway experience. She points out that the human mind in its natural state may be likened to an ordinary lamp which expends energy in the form of both heat and light, but in a chaotic, incoherent way, which diffuses its energy over a wider area, or rather limited depth. Okay, so basically with this technique you can focus your energies and do things. You can remote view,
astrally project.
You can sense things, you can chew at things that you couldn't do otherwise. Steve, did you want to say the findings of it, brother?
Yeah, just the conclusion. Like I said, I dispute what Dragon said earlier, that this document proves the claims that he's been making. That's my singular point.
Why would the CIA invest in creating this document and having an entire institution dedicated to this process?
That doesn't answer the question. The document does not prove the claims that you've been making. That's all I'm saying.
Well,
I understand the CIA is obviously. Here we go down the rabbit hole.
Apparently, brother Curmudgeon has, he's been astute. He's pointed out that it's not actually CIA that did this.
It's declassified. Yeah, kind of. Yes.
Well, there you go. There's that too. Nice catch. Yeah, it's. I understand the CIA. I've heard like MK Ultra, all that kind of stuff. I understand.
And the Magic 12.
They're motivated to explore all this stuff because they obviously want to have the most elite way of doing this stuff. Okay, however you want to phrase it. But and so obviously obviously if there's claims being made that seem to have some that they seem to be cogent, that somehow we can project ourselves into astral planes and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
It doesn't surprise me in the least that they're going to explore those things. All I'm saying is this document does not prove the claims that you've been making. That's all I'm saying.
So the only claims that I've really made is that astral projection is something that is intuitive, that is something that is sensed, not exactly like it's not something you could prove. It's something that is a subjective, intuitive response to mental stimulus. And Kundalini, which in the document literally outlines how there is a study on how it physiologically is like you can sustain this. It is something that has been done as a meditation practice for hundreds of years, and it's just quoting it. So those are the only real claims I've made, and those are both things that have been substantiated by this document.
Yeah, I don't think so. I think if you go back during this conversation, you made some specific, like I asked you this about the claims you made in the chakra presentation, and and you said yes, this you introduced this document as proof of your claims. That's what you
did. Because it uses different language than I do, because the language I was using with the chakras is most definitely like more Hindu and Buddhist inspired, but that language is nullified because it goes into the scientific process of which Kundalini is invoked. Because it could be completely subjective on how Kundalini is done, but there is scientific proof that it is something that can raise your vibration and your consciousness in the scientifically variable, like
I understand all that, but again, this document basically to sum it up, it's basically a recommendation to explore these ideas further on the basis that they might have some legitimacy. That's what the document is. That doesn't prove that those ideas are in fact correct.
Well, humans have been doing it for a very long time. I don't see
know
how.
That. I understand that, but I'm just saying that this. Look, I do meditation. I'm into the breath meditation stuff. I'm not I'm not like a noob at all this kind of stuff.
Gotcha.
But I'm just saying this let me put it another way. You think this document proves what you say. I think if you read it, it doesn't. We obviously have very different understandings.
Give me a specific of like what is it saying that I believe? Like,
well, you gave a chakra presentation with that slide, and I asked you, can you prove any of this? Is there any evidence that any of this is true? And you brought this document to the table to do that.
Because of the Kundalini section, yes. And Kundalini was the only real highlight of that.
Sure. But it doesn't prove that that's true. It just says, hey, this looks like it could be something.
Okay, that's the end all of the hemisync process, not Kundalini. Kundalini is a part of this process that is because this is verifiable.
Part of the document that proves your claims.
Well, you can take back in the example. If we have a doctor here, he could tell you, look, back in the day, they dissect people to look at their inside, and they separate every bone, muscle, nerve system, and they put it
about
on
the vivisections. Yeah.
Yeah. They dissect people just to see what's inside of a human being.
Yep.
But they found that out. They know that the Kundalini is the tube. It's a tube that it comes from your organ, like your male or female organ down in the root chakra, and you go up to your vertebrae, the 33 ladders, to your brain. That is the claustrum, but it's called the chrism is the oil of Christ. It's proven.
Well, this is where it goes into that whole thing where everybody says that the pineal gland can release DMT, and then the pineal gland and the cerebrospinal fluid, they all line up, and supposedly there's DMT in the cerebrospinal fluid, and that's where the cerebrospinal fluid lines up with the Kundalini practices.
Yes. And then these are all things that I don't have the specific vernacular or studies on hand that I can just throw to satisfy what proofs you need. The only thing that I understand is that these are processes of which higher vibrations and higher levels of consciousness have been achieved, and because they have been achieved, they've been documented through various sources. And I don't really have an agenda with most of what I do, because I'm just somebody that's trying to enjoy life in the most in-depth and as connected way as possible. Like, I don't think there's any stone I want to leave unturned when it comes to knowledge and experience.
I just want to understand.
Go ahead.
I think everyone want to understand what's going on and how we can access the other side of ourselves. Because right now we live in matter, but like I was telling, like you have your light body and your physical body, but we all would like to go there with the gods, kind of thing.
Well, the light body, being the astral body, is something that you can subjectively, personally change, and you can choose to appear any way you wish. And that's where one of the things I was saying earlier about a personal experience is like, you can 100% understand what people, if they are of a higher vibration, you can sense them. There's an energy in a life.
What does that mean, of a higher vibration?
That you can just tell. Like, there are people that you can tell they're just dumb and they're coasting through life and they are low vibration. They're just surviving. And there's nothing wrong with just surviving.
Metaphorically. You're not talking about like a literal vibration, and you're using a metaphor.
No, it's literally
it's literal.
One. It's literal. You have an aura. Your dog, you have an aura around you, right? Like a radiation of your body.
But how do you sense this? How do you know?
Intuitively.
Yes. Okay,
and
so
that's a good word, especially when it comes to spiritualities, because
I don't know what spirituality means.
Spirituality is anything having to do with a higher consciousness or spirit body.
But you're now presuming that which you need to establish. Do you understand that?
Huh?
When you say like spirituality is about a higher consciousness, okay, so you've invoked the term higher consciousness. So I'm now going to ask you, what is that, and can you establish that it's a fact?
Well, higher consciousness could mean God, or it could mean your personal attainment.
How are you using the term?
I can't tell you how I'm using it. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, it's called Lux et Veritas. It's Greek. It just means veritas is mean wisdom, but the true wisdom, because your own wisdom is like I don't know if you ever heard about that, the seed of life, the story about the seed of life. You ever heard about it?
All right.
Well, it's the sacred geometry.
Kind of thing, but not really, because
no, he's talking mythology, ancient mythology.
No, well, it's ancient mythology, but it's not mythology, it's real stuff. Your body is a seed that grows. Imagine your body in a field of flower. Imagine yourself as a flower, okay, in a field. Every human is a flower in the field, okay? But you're grounded to the soil as you're grounded to the celestial.
Mm-hmm.
You feed yourself from the light, and you feed yourself from the ground, as above, so below.
Yes.
But the seed of life, you are the seed, and all the wisdom that you will acquire during your lifespan, you're gonna grow your tree. The seed is going to grow to become a tree, or it will fade because somebody else sucking on your life force. So your aura is gonna be bad because the other one right beside you is gonna suck on you. You see how the way I see it?
Yeah, it all sounds very but it's nonsense to
It's
me.
nature. It's not
Yeah,
nonsense.
I know,
It's
but
nature itself.
you're
I
trying
know
to
where you're
talk in a
coming from, but
very
I think that when we
elevated
use these
fashion
metaphors,
about
we need to
nature.
expand on them. I think
Everything is
that
nature. We are
well,
nature.
I
well,
know.
plants have plant defenses against their, other plants. There's so much complexity we could add on to these metaphors to help expand these, ideas.
It's just an example
An example of what? Like I'm just
of nature.
okay. So
Hmm.
no, I'm not going to go there. It's just think about the worst time you feel how it feels. Think about the best. Now see the difference. It's a starting point to understand. I don't know what that means. I'm sorry. I just use language in a very different way than you got. To me, it sounds like a lot like what's that guy's name? I can see his face in my head. Richard Dawkins had a crack at him, and a physicist had a crack at him as well. The guy who talks woo all the time, glasses, Indian fella, Deepak
Oh
Chopra.
yeah. Oh,
Yeah,
the
he's so bad. He's so bad.
What I'm hearing from you guys, it's just reminiscent of that. It's kind of infusing all these kinds of like higher consciousness and we feed on the light, all this kind of stuff. It sounds like, oh, that's enticing, but what does it mean?
It's nature itself. Look at nature itself. If you forgot everything about religion and just look at nature, what does nature do?
eats each other.
Yes.
But what's so good about that? Is it not scary?
It's not good. It's not scary. It's what nature do.
It just is.
Nature is neutral.
Yeah, it just is. And when it
You
comes,
can just say that is just materiality doing its thing. It's nature is materiality. It's just not. There's nothing else. It is just things doing things to each other because things require other things to stay as things. I mean, there's nothing.
Are you aware of a YouTube channel called After School?
No,
Yeah.
I can't say that I am.
Okay.
Yes,
There's a
I know them.
YouTube channel called After School, and there's a video of Ram Dass called How to Keep Your Heart Open in Hell. And in there, he does two poems. He does one from a monk called Thich Nhat Hanh, and then another one from a Islam priest called Thich Nhat Hanh. Did I just repeat myself? Thich Nhat.
I thought you said the same name twice.
Yeah,
I
think
did. Okay,
twice.
so Thich Nhat Hanh is the monk, and
Yes.
Kabir is the Muslim priest. Both of the poems echo the same sentiment, which is you are both who you are and the other. You are both self and other. You are both within and without, as above, so below. Like there is this dualistic nature to your being where your experience, though subjective, is inherently true for all other beings, and same thing for them back to you. And that's where I don't think of things in a very scientific method anymore, because the more that I look into science, the more I see it's based on faith and story. Because that's
I mean, not entirely. There's definitely a process, but there's a lot of dogma. There is definitely bias. Scientism's in the field. I get where you're coming from.
But
Can
I'm
get
gonna
your
tell you
vaccine.
and offer a perspective. Is it possible that humans have evolved? Like evolution has selected this kind of spiritual way of thinking about things, because until really the last, let's say, 200 years, and up until then, we had to make sense of the world we lived in, and if we didn't, we'd basically die. And so evolution selected for these kinds of characteristics in our biology to seek this kind of stuff, because it was a survival mechanism. But evolution just hasn't caught up with the knowledge that we've discovered over the last, say, 200 years or whatever. Is that a
I mean
possible
that
theory?
that's a
Well,
that is
not
the
theory,
that is
hypothesis.
no,
Hypothesis.
that's a very good argument. I don't think it can be easily refuted, and it's something I think about. Like there is always uh, evolutionary or an evolutionary behavioral reason for things, or you can see one for things.
I wouldn't say it's something that can be like to refute it. You'd have to do the experiments and all that kind of stuff. But I get what I'm saying is, in my mind at least, that raises a reasonable doubt against what you guys are saying. Enough of a doubt to make me not believe what you, or not subscribe to what you guys are saying, because what you're saying, you can't discount that, and until you do, then what you're saying is merely hypothesis. It's not theory. It's just an idea you have that's waiting to be tested.
Well, personal experience and that of other people's accounts, like I don't know. I can't not have faith in God.
Yeah, I don't dispute people have personal experiences. I mean, when I was a kid, I thought I saw ghosts, you know, but I don't think that was anything less than the power of suggestion from the people around me, etc., etc. Like there are other explanations apart from there's a spiritual realm, that kind of thing. That's all. Well, I mean, Richard Cardinal, your comment there, science cannot test or prove it. Well, again, science, it depends what you mean by science. And if something basically, it seems to me you're saying this can't be falsified. And if it can't be falsified, then it's I'm not saying it's not true. Okay, let's be clear. If you can't falsify something, that's not the same as saying it's not true. It just means you can't prove it's true. And I'm before the experts jump on me there, I'm being very genuine.
What part it is not true?
I just said I don't know if it's true or not. Everything you're saying could very well be the truth. That's a possibility. I'm just saying that there are other explanations that raise sufficient doubt against what you're saying that at this point in time, it means that I have enough reason to not subscribe to what you're saying.
Yes, I believe you because I'm not a believer. I don't believe in God. I don't believe in Satan. I don't believe in any of that crap. Me, I took my evidence in nature only. Nature is my teacher.
So maybe I'm talking more to Dragon.
Yeah, well, my teacher is everything in that sense. Like, nature definitely is a big proponent in this, mostly because like Kundalini, as far as I understand it, is one of the oldest practices that human beings have. And the knowledge of, I mean, personally, at least the knowledge that I am orating and repeating is like, as you said, like technology has not caught up to our understanding of spiritual concepts. And
no, I said the reverse. I didn't say that. I said
reverse.
Our biological evolution has not caught up to the discoveries and knowledge we have now.
I would also say the opposite is true because, like, I think it is very possible that, like, the more people that practice these things, the more people that do it, the vibration of like raising tide raises all ships type of deal. And his analogy
back into this, you're talking about if everyone does this and the vibration increases and we all go down this road together. I'm not.
Well, okay. Well, not everybody has to think the same way, but it's more so just the dogma and the preconceived notions of like the scientific method in having empirical evidence having to be the only way, because we're starting to understand more is that we don't have the answers.
Okay, so that's a very good point. There is a lot of stuff in fact, what we don't know is obviously going to far outweigh what we think we know. And I think, again, when it comes to the stuff you're talking about, we don't know that anything that what you said is true. So I'll admit freely, we don't know nothing. But what we do know is more important. What we can verify, what we can falsify, in my opinion, is of far more value than the stuff you're talking about. Even if what we can falsify and what we say we know is just tiny.
Oh, I think they're both
Yes.
important, man. You need the contrast, you know.
Yeah.
It's sort of that whole thing. If we had all the knowledge in the world, why would it would be pointless to seek knowledge? You know, like the adventure would end. You know, because that's the thing with science, man. Is it's an adventure. You know, whether you're a philosopher or a scientist, when you're a true thinker, it's an adventure, and you don't want that adventure to end.
Yeah.
But the big problem is that the corruption in making money and people making fake discovery, and that throw us off the rail by telling like lies and stuff.
Well, that's where it also gets hard because what's the true creativity, you know? Like so much of our creativity as a species is influenced by each other's experiences or thought or history, you know? Like an artist, you know, goes to an art school, they learn from other artists and that influences how they, you know, their final product is.
Yeah, that's personal experience.
Yeah.
So what? Why is that relevant to this conversation?
Because personal experience is the end all be all. It really is.
Oh yeah, well that's my biggest problem with science right now is so much of the field, like specifically within psychedelic research, so many of these researchers have never actually taken the substance themselves, and that leaves a huge, you know, disconnect in the information that they receive.
You don't need to have personal experience of something to be knowledgeable about it.
I disagree.
Okay.
Well, you can be knowledgeable, but you can't say for certain.
If you have like, okay, for example, like I haven't done all that stuff because I had a bad
That's what I'm saying.
experience
You have
with.
to do both.
Okay.
You have to do the experience and the research. If you're doing one or the other, you're leaving
you
half
don't.
of the
If
information
you
gone.
experience something, you become an expert in your one individual experience. It's a sample of one. That's what you become an expert in. Like I remember one.
True, but that's
expert is
also how much
experience.
it ties to your ego. If you're not tying it to your ego, you can admit that, you know, I know about this one thing, but how much do I really know? I am just a fool. Like, do any of us know about this?
So for example, I remember once I had a crack at smoking marijuana. It didn't agree with me. It really messed with me. Well, I just not. I didn't flip out mentally. It just physically made me feel sick and stuff. You know.
Yeah,
And
for
it
sure.
just-
Got you nauseous
okay,
or something.
so that's my personal experience. My brother, on the other hand, he thrives on this stuff. So
I'm smoking a bowl right now. Cheers.
So all I'm saying is, sure, you don't need to, like, whatever your personal experience is with something, you have become an expert in what you think happened to yourself. That's all it is.
Very
You
true.
don't need to
No.
become an expert. You don't need to have that experience to truly understand the full breadth.
It comes back to being subjective. Yeah.
But you can study people's claims after they've been on these hallucinogenic drugs, and you can do that if you want to. There's probably there probably are studies, I don't know, where you get like 1,000 people who have done it, and you write down everything they experienced and everything they said, and find out commonalities, yada yada yada.
Oh no, there definitely is. We have archetype studies, you know, showing archetypes within different
But the people doing those studies don't necessarily have to have experienced it. That's all I'm saying.
I made a post in the chat about people that got brain injury and become genius. How can we explain that?
Oh, savant.
You made a comment. You said 10 people who gained genius from brain damage.
Yes.
That doesn't prove anything. That's just a claim.
No.
It's a real thing.
Phenomenon.
You know? Like, there's probably
phenomenon.
been more than 10 people that have, you know, reached a savant status from brain injuries.
Yeah, but is that not just is that not just an example that there was some shift in the material in their brain?
No, I want to see proof of this. Prove the claim.
Yeah,
look it up. Do your
up.
research.
No. If you make a claim, you have the responsibility to bring the evidence of that claim forward.
Savant
syndrome.
Savant syndrome is a rare condition.
Well, we know I know what savant syndrome is, but they're born with it. But I want to hear about people who became geniuses after an accident. That's
okay. After brain head injury. Sudden savant.
You should be able to bring the evidence immediately. It should be accessible.
Yes. Examples: Derek Amato. After a severe concussion, he became a musical savant, able to improvise complex musical pieces. He never played an instrument beforehand. Then Jason Paget. He developed a mathematical and artistic ability after a traumatic brain injury.
Where's this
Uh,
from? How can these stories be verified?
My
NPR article, and then a BBC article.
Oh, Jesus Christ. I mean,
Where else
seriously?
do you find news? Where else do you find news? These are people.
I would go
You're
look up
quoting
on
the
PubMed,
BBC as
dude.
proof that brain damage causes people to become genius. Come on, man.
I'm gonna look it
You
up on
never
PubMed.
look. Do you follow? What is your research?
You're asking me?
How do you
Yeah.
research?
I didn't make
Just
any claims here. I didn't make any
okay,
claims.
then do research instead of scoffing at a biased source. Like you're having a lot of bias instead of greeting all information as valuable. Greet all information as valuable.
No, I will not do that.
That's
Okay.
Gnosis.
Because all
Oh,
information
man,
is not valuable. And I'm going to quote me the BBC to say that 10 people became geniuses from brain damage. Dude, come on.
Mhm.
Come on. I want something where there's some kind of how do I mean you've just made the claim. Verify
So you want
the
a
claim.
personal experience?
I beg your pardon?
You want a personal experience for yourself? So you want to experience it? Is that what you
That's
need?
such a what a nonsense contribution to the discussion.
But because I'm trying to figure you out why you
If you say
Okay.
that 10 people have gained
Here's
genius
an
from brain damage,
NIH PubMed study.
Oh, here's the Psychology Today study.
oh Jesus.
You're asking for
definitely-
sources we're trying to
don't wanna
provide. Like, please try to be amicable. Like, we're
I am.
it's-
Oh, found one
I'm-
on PubMed.
I'm being very nice.
This is a government website, you know,
Yeah.
freaking NIH.
they are liar, huh?
No, but does it prove the claim that you made?
The people itself is
11 cases.
Yep, 11
Yeah, and
cases.
it has linked different papers of savant skills and savant syndrome. It's down in the bottom. Yeah.
Oh, you put a link here?
Mhm.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, it's called acquired savant syndrome. That's the
Mm.
difference.
Yeah.
Yeah, after an injury.
Let's be clear about what that information says.
Mhm.
Conclusion. This paper documents 11 cases of sudden savant syndrome, which is a new and additional form of savant blah, 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 blah. It opens new paths of inquiry for exploration or
Yeah.
of extraordinary abilities, perhaps within everyone. It's just saying again, this is this abstract is essentially saying this is very interesting. We had 11 people, they suffered damage to their brain, and somehow
No, these people didn't suffer. This is the interesting
Oh.
thing. These are 11 cases of sudden savant syndrome, which is different to acquired savant syndrome, which was from a head or brain injury.
oh okay.
That's the interesting thing here.
Yeah.
These are people who suddenly became extremely wise in
Oh,
somehow
right.
or other.
So therefore that doesn't actually prove your claim. But what I'm saying is
Mhm.
it just opens new paths of inquiry. That's what it says. Let's have a look at this more. Let's explore it. That's what it's saying.
Okay.
It doesn't say it doesn't prove anything about why it happens or that it even happened. Like you have to define terms very clearly.
Mhm.
If you say someone became a genius after brain damage, how do you assess that? That's
Well,
all I'm saying.
The brain is always recording, no matter what. If you're not listening to a conversation, your brain is listening to it. Is your subconscious, okay? But your subconscious always listening to sound and noise and stuff you don't even read, but your brain is reading it. And soon as you hit the brain and it activate the pathway.
That all sounds like what was it Dennett said, it's just a deepity. It sounds interesting, but it's not really once you investigate it. And I'd just like to comment, there's a comment, was it Richard Cardinale? I'm sorry if I've mispronounced your name. Steve or UF Dogs, prove me God exists or doesn't exist. I don't understand the concept of God. God to me
Right.
is a concept that can't be defined. So whether it exists or not, you have to define what
UF
God
Dogs.
exists. Yes, mate.
What I was going to ask
Please,
is,
please shut up and get off my
no,
screen.
definitely not, definitely not. I'm enjoying this actually, guys. It's all good. Do you know what I like about this?
brings
This
more
is good
thought.
faith. Nobody's getting annoyed, and it is just a good conversation. You know, if people are trying to, and it is true. We live in a world where people will fundamentally disagree with you, and it's nice when people can get together and actually talk, even though they're coming from different persuasions of thought, and also whilst also trying to be get somewhere in good faith. It's good. So thank you. One thing, though, UF Dogs, I know you're Mr. Skeptic, and you give great reasons for it. You did say before, and I did say I'd get you on this. You did say you've had a few strange experiences, and the reason I remembered is because you said you thought you saw ghosts when you were a kid or something. I'd just like to hear, if you would be so kind, you tell us some of those strange experiences, if you
sly dog.
No, just it would be good to kind of it'd be good to see if you have any common ground with these guys at all. That's why I want.
Can I come back to you in a couple of seconds, because I'm just actually in the middle of a coughing fit here, so I will get back to you when
no problem.
I'm gonna need some proof.
Talk amongst yourselves for a couple of seconds. I'll be back.
Yeah.
Oh,
He's probably coughing out his demon.
Yeah, but personally, I never experienced any ghosts or anything.
never. I was scared as a kid, but like growing up, I kind of grew out of it. But like outside of my fear, I hadn't experienced anything directly.
I think it's all produced by the mind.
Guys, you don't know how fundamentally important this is. I want to hear your folks' weird experiences, because this is Mr. Skeptic. So I want to hear.
This is the day that I just get gotcha and I have to recant.
No, not got you. It's just like I want to hear.
I'm being very, very facetious, mate.
Yeah, I want to hear how intense.
Okay, so I talked about the ghosts when I was a kid.
For a lot of people, these would be things that would lead them to a belief. So, do you know what I mean? Yeah.
No, sorry, I didn't catch that. Sorry.
I'm just saying, for a lot of people, these types of experience lead them to have some kind of a belief, and it's just interesting that it didn't in your case. So yeah. Go ahead.
So when I was a kid, I remember. I just got to be careful about giving information out. The house that I lived in, I was told was haunted. I think my mum told me that she'd seen stuff, and I was a little boy at this. We're talking something like 3, 4, 5, around that kind of age, and then I remember seeing ghosts, but I do remember that she told me that. So it's kind of, it was a very real experience for me what I saw, but I can account for it by the power of suggestion.
Right. Yeah. Do you remember what you actually saw?
Yeah. I can picture it in my head now. It was like a group of people in a room wearing Victorian clothing. I can pick the faces now. It's a very vivid image.
Was the house actually old enough?
Yeah, it was really old house. Really old house. Yeah. So again, so how do I say this? I'm not saying that ghosts aren't real. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that I can explain it. There's alternative explanations, which basically, until those are overcome, you can't say with any certainty that those entities were real. That's what I'm saying.
Is that the only one you've had, or is there any
mate,
others?
You're really going to push me, aren't you? So I'll give you another couple. I used to be no, I don't want to do that because that'll give too much information away.
You don't have to say the job or nothing. Just say what happened.
Yeah. No, it's not a job. Okay. So when I was a Christian, there was a big healing thing. I remember one guy claimed to be able to lengthen. You know how some people, their legs, one leg is a little bit shorter than the other. And he claimed to be able to lengthen legs. So I remember. People hated me for this, but this is just the kind of guy I was. I was sitting way back in the back of the auditorium when this guy was he had someone on stage who had this condition, and he said he was going to make their leg longer. And I was like, well, in my mind, I thought, well, fuck this. I'm going up the front to have a look at this guy. So I pushed my way through the auditorium and just literally just went and sat in the front of the center of the stage so I could see this happen.
Right.
And it didn't happen. But the point is, a lot of people around me believed it did.
Okay.
And I thought that was quite interesting. And I'll say one other thing that that happened to me. We were doing a seance at school we were all in high school, which is we call it college, but other
Yeah,
people call it high
yeah.
school.
Yeah,
And I remember we're doing this seance, and this chick's arm just went blue, and so I don't want to. So we had to destroy the glass basically, and we destroyed the glass, and there was all this panic and what the fuck have we opened up? What the
So
fuck
you
have
did
we
a kind
done?
of Ouija board, did you?
Yeah, it was a Ouija board thing. Yeah. But you know what? Even looking back, when I say her arm was blue, was it?
Was it just cold?
It could be. It could be anything. It could be the lighting. It could be. It could
Power.
be. I willed that into existence in my head because I wanted that to be true. Because how cool would it be that I was part of that? So that.
I mean, it wasn't just you that saw it, right?
You know
You
what?
all saw it.
I can't recall, but I remember. But again, I don't know if I
It's funny you should say
convinced
that, 'cause
myself that was true because I wanted it to be, and I wanted maybe I wanted the attention from it being true, and I said I saw it. It could be anything like that.
Well, remember, I told you I did a Ouija board when I was about 20, 28 or so, something like 28, 29. And my friend who was with me, she's the one who wanted to do it. We were sitting there, and I hadn't any faith in it, and I drew it on the back of an old chessboard, right? And then we had like the little glass or whatever in the middle, and we were putting our fingers on it, and it wasn't doing anything. We asked it to do this or that, it didn't do anything. So then I just sat back and I said, look, if there are any spirits here, please give us a sign. And basically there was a lamp on the other side of the room. It was a big room, big living room. And there was a lamp with a brass base and a white lampshade. And it just started dimming. And it just started dimming really slowly. And then it went off. And then it just came on very slowly again to full illumination. And me and my friend looked at each other. I mean, in my head, I was like, yeah, that's probably just electrical flux or something, just some kind of weird power thing. So then I just said, look, if that was a spirit, please give us another sign. And it did it again. Now, that happened. Funny enough, that we didn't actually get scared or anything, right? But we stopped doing it. We stopped doing the Ouija board. But we didn't run out of the place or anything like that. And actually, me and her kind of we stopped talking. I don't know, about a few years later. But then I did meet her one day. I said, "Look, no," I messaged her one day, and I think I met her here and there as well. But I basically said, "Look, did that actually happen?" I think I said to her I definitely said to her in a WhatsApp, and she said yes. And then I met her in person, and I asked her again, and she said yes, it definitely happened. And she said she wants to go to a priest or something, yeah. So, but the thing is, that is weird, and I've had some other weird experiences as well, which I've said about on this channel. But I will also say there are these weird things where there are apparently like shared hallucinations and stuff. That.
Well, it's interesting because again, when I go back to the Christian stuff that I was involved in, I used to I would see people go forward at altar calls and stuff like that, and they would have these that looked like they'd fall over and all that kind of stuff, or they'd have demons released from them. You know how it works when you get into that scene. Well, you probably don't do it. But I remember thinking to myself all the time, I want that experience. I want God to touch me. And I tried it, and I went forward on numerous occasions, and I did fall over, and I did kind of whatever they do, they shake or whatever, and I did cry and all that kind of stuff. But it wasn't authentic. I was trying to force it to happen.
Yeah.
So, maybe I'm just not. Maybe I just don't have that gene. I don't know.
But this is the thing. Even look, there's several possibilities here. And the thing is, it could be a spiritual phenomenon, but it could also be some weird psychokinetic thing. Like your brain is able to do things, that you like. As I said, it could be like what I suggested when I've had these weird dreams that seem to be premonitions. It could be that your brain is able to sense the kind of butterfly effect of the universe, and like I think of it sometimes as waves of like patterns and like puzzle pieces, and like you're all part of the flux. And your subconscious is sensing things intuitively, and you get this feeling about things because you've had these patterns before. They resemble something you've experienced before or seen before. So when you get these intuitive feelings, and in your mind's eye you see things, it's because you've had an experience like that somewhere before. and who knows what you held on to in your subconscious,
That's
through
right.
life.
So you're talking about familiarity, I guess. Like one thing.
Yeah,
happens,
yeah.
and
I'm saying I believe there could possibly be, like, we were talking earlier. I think the universe is just one thing, and it's just like we're weird little bits of it. But it basically, you can't have anything without the other. You know what I mean? And it's like we're existing within this massive wave collection of all these different waves, and as we're going around in the sea, our brain stores data of patterns. Basically, it's pattern recognition.
subconsciously too, I guess.
The
Subconsciously,
relevance
exactly. Yeah, yeah.
realization. I know
And so
what you're saying.
like we don't fucking listen to everything we can hear. We don't see everything we can. As we're walking on the street, we're seeing things, but we're not actually like taking them in, if you know what I mean. But our subconscious is,
Yeah. Yep.
our mind.
Spotlight versus floodlight consciousness.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And who knows, that stuff, all that kind of background stuff that is going into you, it is coming into you, because if there's any significant change in it, you'll notice it. Do you know what I mean? But it
Yeah,
won't be
I do know what you mean.
so this is all
yeah.
doing stuff in your brain, I believe, and it's
Yeah,
all,
and I
it's
think
all,
I don't deny that our brain probably does this stuff. We just don't know it. But I think to make the jump from that to it's a spiritual thing or
yeah,
something
that's what I'm saying. I'm saying
otherworldly.
this is it. I'm saying it could be a spiritual, but it could also be that. And but it also, a lot of it could also be just plain old psychosis as well. It's just like not true, as in there is
could just
Well,
be
if
nothing.
it is,
brain farts,
as long
you
as
know.
it's ethical, it
Yeah,
sounds like
brain
a
fart.
healthy psychosis.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. As long as it's
And
helpful.
Richard Cardinal, again, just to be clear, you said my comment about I don't have the right genes. I'm not speaking literally about it, or maybe I am. I'm just saying I don't my body. I don't sense that kind of stuff. That's all. Whether it's genetic or
Maybe it's some
know,
part of the
getting-
brain.
I
Neurophysiology,
don't know.
Yep.
Well, it does seem weird that there are certain, like, Dragon Fruit came on here and talked about his friend who had schizophrenia, and basically had all this, like, had access to all these weird knowledge, esoteric stuff that nobody else seems to have. And it's definitely something going on with the brain, isn't it? I'm not saying your schizophrenic isn't sensing something that is actually true. I can't prove it. I'm just saying it does
Nor
seem
can
to
I.
be. It seems to be fundamentally a state of brain issue.
Dragon, I just have one question about because I was listening through the whole thing. You said your mate I might be misremembering here, so please feel free to correct me. But you said something like your mate created a building or a city of gold and bronze.
Okay. It's an expansive kingdom that has different districts, and each district is constructed differently. And then
so
the main
is it
castle
tangibly
itself,
real, or is it just in the mind?
it's all on the mind. And what's incredible is that, like, you can kind of see it in the imagination, and roughly, like, and that's the thing, it's the imagination, it's the astral. And
I got an
but
example.
what's cool about the astral is that you intuit information out of it.
But
And
I can create a city in my mind right now of gold and diamonds and wealth and emeralds and I'm the king and I rule over the world. I can do that in a split second.
Yep.
So
does it have does it have depth? Does it have details? Does it have
Well, I have two
specifically
responses to
constructed
that.
things?
My two responses are: you can't demonstrate the detail that's in your friend's mind, no matter what he says. And two, yeah, I can go into as much detail as I want to in my imagination.
Well, we have
Yes.
some
Okay.
level of
Now,
quantifying that. We have hyperphantasia and aphantasia. We have some level of quantifying these things. So
I'm not denying that your friend sees these things in his
Mhm.
imagination. Not even for a second. I'm sure he does. But from there, so what?
all I can say is that when you have a shared, like, where he doesn't preface what you're going to see, and that yet those, it's about building something in your imagination and having it prepared, and then bringing someone there in the imagination and have them describe to you the thing that you've already created. Have them intuit the knowledge
I want to make sure my
that's
understanding
there.
is correct. Are you saying that you described to him what you saw and he verified that was accurate? Is that what happened?
Yeah, okay, but That's the thing. It's very subjective, but
Is
this is
that what
where
you're describing? I'm asking.
yes,
Is that what? Okay,
and
right.
there's
So if you
definitely
say
a margin of error in that.
no, it's not a margin of error. There's also a margin of manipulation. Maybe the
Yes.
guy with his messiah complex, if someone says to him, "Hey, I saw the city that you created, and here are the details," and he goes,
no shit.
He goes, "Yes, because I'm the Messiah." I mean, come on.
Yeah, no, and I completely agree with that. And this is also where in my own constructions, I'm very skeptical about the validity of it because I have yet to experiment with bringing someone else there. But I have been developing a place, and like, do you know? I'm not. No. I'm because what I mean by there is like the I'm not sure which Stoic it was, but they had the what they would call like a process of recalling by mapping out a place you're familiar with, and by your familiarity with something, you can go through and describe the entire thing, the details of whether it be a speech, whether it be a presentation or whatever. Like you will have a mental process of an encapsulated knowledge that you would have to practice.
Okay. And my response to all that is,
well, that process of creating that well of information is something that when you personally invest in creating that information, it is plausible, I'm not saying it is real, that people can intuit and reach that information if you are and this is the weird thing. I think it's some form of telepathy, and it's very I don't understand the processes by which it would happen, but I do believe that there is an intuitive experience that can be shared in those realms of meditation. And there's experience, though subjective, can, I'm sure there's some form of replicability to it.
Okay, you think there's a form of replicability to this? That's a bold statement.
Oh, I almost disagree with that one. I think that we're intersecting more often than we're getting in
I'll be
parallel
back in a
lines.
bit, guys. I just got to bring the dog out for a little bit. I'll be back in a bit.
No worries.
Yeah.
What if we're crossing lanes, but we think we're building bridges? That kind of thing.
But I'm curious. Like, do you proceed on the basis that it could be true? No. Why instead of proceeding on the basis that it could be true, why not do something to find out whether it is or it isn't? And if it is, move forward. If it isn't, then discard it.
Yes, and I've had personal experience, not just only with that Messiah figure, that have proven to be very like. I don't know. I've had too many experiences of various sources to say that just because I did this with this one schizophrenic person does not mean that that experience is invalidated due to the personality of that person.
No, I'm not. I'm not trying to. People's experiences are valid to themselves. I'm not disputing that. What I'm driving at basically is. It's like a belief in God. Every time you ask someone, like a Christian, being specific, what is God? That basically it always boils down to God is a reflection of themselves, and it's not an externally. You can't verify it without getting inside their head. So it's impossible to know what it is. And this just sounds similar to me. I think it's. Like you obviously have personal experience. We all do. I'm not pointing you. I mean, I do too. We have specific personal experiences, which of course shape our lives, shape the direction of our lives. I can hear my asthmatic breathing through the mic. I apologize. That shape our lives, that move us forward, and we all end up basically on a trajectory, which stems from all these personal experiences we have. I just think we need to be cautious about even like when it comes to this kind of stuff, that's just like talking about a guy had a vision of a city. I told him what it was, and he said that's right. I think we need to be really, really cautious about even thinking that that's true or legitimate. I don't think that's what I think. I wouldn't just, I wouldn't never proceed. Like if someone said to me, Steve, I went to a city and it was the same as the one in your head, and even if it was, I still wouldn't proceed on the basis that that actually happened.
Yeah, nobody will. Only that person.
Mm.
And okay. This is kind of my what I originally messaged you about is my theory on manifestation and magic. So to kind of tie that in, if I in my mind manifest a certain event happening, and that said event happens, right? Is it the fact that I thought about it and preconceived how it would play out beforehand that made it happen, or would it have happened upon its own accord in that fashion? And it's only upon my conscious attention of, whether it be preconceiving or wanting a confirmation bias of a positive thing to happen, like, would those events correlate or nullify each other? I don't know.
My response to that is
that.
that you've got a hypothesis that needs to be falsified. That's all I would say to that. I don't know. I mean, again, maybe you thought of something and that did have an effect on the cosmos and it willed it into existence. That is possible. But my point is just simply, okay, we now have this hypothesis before us. How can we demonstrate whether or not it is in fact true? That's all I'm saying.
So a lot of what is it, business books and self-help books actually have this as like a psychology nowadays, which is like there's positive thinking, more or less. There is
like prosperity
a
gospel and self-help books, man. There's a lot of crossover. It's nuanced. You have to be careful with this stuff.
Yeah, exactly. But there's a novelist. His name is Neville, and he has multiple books on the unconscious and manifestation.
Neville Goddard.
Yes.
Yes, I know exactly what you're talking about. The whole that God is the imagination.
Yes.
Yes.
And Neville does a very good job of kind of articulating my understanding of God and how we are a shared consciousness network. Now, all of existence, and kind of what we talked about earlier, is that whether or not there's an observer, it's going to happen. But it is because of our conscious effort that we can change the outcome. And that's the most magnificent thing. We have magic at our fingertips, whether it be through effort or through how or in what we speak. Those things carry energies. Those are vibrations that we are putting out at all times. And that's where, if people, then this is where I said, you can sense intuitively people's vibration. You can tell whether or not somebody is spiritual just by the way they carry themselves.
What is a person's vibration exactly?
The vibe check, man.
What is a
vibe? It's just your intuition, man. Do you get good vibes from them?
Yeah,
it's peace and love, man.
You know, it's like you're walking in a jungle. Do you sense eyes are around you? Is there a predator? It's intuition. You know, how much is to do with the body or the fight or flight or the brain? You know, we don't know. We don't know enough.
Give you an example.
Intuition could just be.
I give you an example.
Our brain is becoming aware of things that we're not consciously processing.
I want to give you an example.
Ooh, this is a cool little diagram.
Can you see the aura of a magnet? The magnetic field around a magnet. Can you see it?
No, you can sense it.
Yes, but you cannot see it.
Well, you can see it with instruments.
Yeah, with instrument. But if we had instrument to see our aura, there is instrument for that as well. but we have a feel. Like
You're saying that there are instruments. Hang on, there are instruments
yes,
that show our aura.
yeah, aura. And
What is what is aura? What is that?
It's your it's your energy that it's the same thing as a magnet.
But how?
That
What's
is a
the point of you introduce? Are you saying that the aura is some kind of
It's a
spiritual
magnetic
force?
field. No, it's not spiritual. It's real.
Our body gives off a magnetic field.
Yes, and it's proven scientifically, and you can bring it up with there's a machine for that, and you can even check the magnetic field of every plant.
Please pop a link or something in the private chat or the public chat.
I don't know about the auras, about machines being able to detect auras, but I do know that we have ways to quantify
We are a
the magnetic field
Yep.
of a human body. You know, whether it's through math or through machines, we have the ability to quantify that.
Everything you're saying could be true. I don't know. I'm just asking.
But we definitely have electromagnetic flux within our nervous system.
But I think what I'm trying to get at here is you start talking about aura, then you say it's a magnetic field, and I'm concerned about where you're going to take that.
Oh yeah, you
one
need to
of
use
the
the right
one of the same.
terminology. You can't have three different things conflicting each other.
Like you can sense somebody's aura, and this person has a bad aura. Like what is it? I saw Divine Hazel put in the chat earlier. This is obviously my first incarnation. It's like what is? I don't understand this part.
I bring that because
I can see auras, or whatever.
Yeah. DARPA is building a weapon right now. DARPA is building a weapon to manufacture your utilize your aura, your biofield.
Thanks, Alex Jones. Thanks, Alex Jones.
I'm gonna paste that right here. It's that's one part. Wait a minute. That's not going. Monitoring and human field here. Research gate.
Can't you just share the link in the private chat here?
Yeah. There you go. I share it.
Thank you. I'll share that now in the chat for people if they want to.
Okay, then you can go there and look at.
1 second. I'll share it.
And that's just one institute. There's many other institutes that do that.
There you go.
ResearchGate, a publication on the electric heart magnetic interactions within and between people. So it's a book on the subject. I'll link that here in a second. Oh, I think we linked the same one. No? Oh, yeah, these are two different ones.
Okay. I got a PDF monitoring human aura. It's called ResearchGate.
Yeah.
It's got. I cannot copy and paste that part. It's part of the book.
I can share the PDF now. 1 second. I've downloaded it. There you go.
Okay.
You want to? If you want to read
Oh, there
it,
you go.
1 second. So that on that page, monitoring the human health by measuring the biofield aura, an overview. Okay, there's a school of engineering in Goenka University in Haryana, India. Okay, the abstract then, various life processes in human beings involve physiological and mental activity. Interestingly, electromagnetic field is associated with such activities. Psychological perception of one's environment or a person's thought process induces characteristic electrical impulses in the brain. These signals travel through the central sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous system, creating the unique magnetic field of the organism that can radiate out of the body and is termed aura or bioenergy field. Thus, this radiation field has the information about the individual's physiological and mental status. Any changes in homeostasis, including parasitic infection, genetic mutation, arterial constriction, etc., will produce a corresponding modification in the bioenergy field that in turn would lead to various diseases. Thus, aura gives a signature of the status of health prior to its manifestation in the physical body. Therefore, human health can be effectively monitored by measuring this radiation field. I mean, I'll be honest with you, I think there's probably some truth in that, I do. Personally, so
I'm just looking for replicability that has again, sure. I mean, people can publish whatever the hell they want.
Yeah, I know they can. Yeah, I know they can. But I'm saying, I think with the right measuring machines and such, they might be able to figure out that there is some truth in that. That's just a feeling I have.
Sure, but I mean, you can probably create a machine that detects anything you want it to detect.
Yeah, but what it would be able to do, Steve, is it would be able to recognize the electromagnetic waves coming from the person, and it would be it's again about patterns. So it would see the patterns that are, for example, symbolic of one type of illness or mental state, or that's what it would be about. It'd be about pattern recognition. It would involve.
I understand that. Yeah, but I mean, I'm seeing here like on page what's page 27656. I've just lost it. Like, these scientists suggest that this technology can be used for early detection of cancer, heart disease, and other medical conditions. So again, there's lots of this. What I've discovered today, and a lot of the stuff that's been put forward, there's suggestions. Hey, this could be possible.
These are hypotheses, and they haven't been.
And it talks here about okay, here we go. Dr. Kartkov claims blah, measuring altered states of consciousness, chakra energy, amplitude, and alignment. I mean, come on. Whenever I see that language, I just go, okay, right. I'm just going to tune
I
out.
mean, it is strange to hear chakra being mentioned.
Well, this is where I think that part of the replicability problem arises in the differences of cultures. This is coming out of India, using a lot of, cultural language. So, I think that's part of the replicability problem.
No, I think if you're part of the scientific community, there's certain things there's language that you use. It's not a cultural issue. I disagree with that. I mean, because you take the Japanese versus the Western way of looking at things and their cultures, they're absolute opposites. But when it comes to science, boom, they're connected. It's I dispute that culture thing. And I feel
like it's funny because I feel like faith in science can be, we are at the point as a species where we can completely merge the two, but obviously that hasn't been going anywhere quickly.
Well, I don't have faith in science.
Isaac, come on up, brother.
I don't have faith in it. I just, to me, science is just a system of it's machinery that we've used to investigate hypotheses. That's all it is.
All right.
And so far, from my understanding, from what I can see, it appears to be the best thing that we've got going.
Yeah. The thing that it seems is that we're at a spot where that, like you said earlier, that as a species, we're sort of outpacing our own evolution when it comes to these things, because it seems to me where science is at a pinnacle point where it's sort of having an existential crisis because we're actually starting to research these phenomena such as consciousness and realizing that we can't put it in black and white gray boxes, in the perfect.
Again, I'm not denying that everything you're saying is true. Everything you're saying could be absolutely and unquestionably fact. It could be. What I'm saying is, how do we check it? That's all I'm saying. And until we know how to do that, and until we can, I see no reason to accept it.
Okay. I want to say hello to Isaac Spiritman. Hello, Isaac Spiritman. How you doing?
Oh boy, Spiritman. That's going to be another one.
Is my fan coming through the mic, or is it blocking it out?
No, you're sounding cool. Good, bro. You sound great.
Cool. Because on some platforms it'll be really fuzzy. So thank you.
Okay. So
Yeah,
Isaac, I
I'll
don't know
tap in. I'll tap in, and I haven't really heard much.
Okay, brother. Well, feel free to talk whenever. Cheers. Sorry, guys, as you were. Sorry.
I'm surrounded.
No, you're fine. You're fine. You're
Holy
that
moly, you
one.
are.
Yeah,
Story of
but
my life. Story
It's
of my
like
life, mate.
Hollywood
No
squares,
worries.
but they're circles.
it's just
No
like
worries.
what I have a problem is like people have to do their own research, and if you don't do any of your own research, like, how can you correlate to other people's journey or
Okay, but
research?
yes, I agree. We should all do our own research. We should take responsibility for the claims we make. If you make a claim, then you are responsible. You have just accepted the burden of proving that claim. And until you do, there's no reason for anyone else to accept it.
But I only have to prove that to myself and nobody else.
Yeah,
So if
with
you say,
science,
for
you need to
example, if you
communicate it that way.
say there's 10 examples of people with brain damage who became
Yes.
geniuses, it's now on you to prove that claim. I don't need to go
No,
hunting for that evidence.
Well, I've had
I
a
re-
coma, and I will say that I've had some breakthroughs.
You did?
No, I
Fair?
I went to a coma for 3 days. I hit my head skateboarding and got 3 brain hemorrhages. I ripped my brain in 3 spots.
Oh,
Almost died.
bro,
My goodness.
that's mad.
Yes, and I lost my sense of smell and taste, and it feels like I got desensitized to reality in one aspect, but I got more connected to spirit in one aspect.
So your
Interesting.
brain rewired itself to a specific brainwave.
Yeah, probably because I had an out of body experience and saw everything and the future and weird shit, and then came back.
So what the future's holding?
I'm not sure. I have a lot of deja vus, and then I'll be like, oh yeah, I saw that in a coma, but then it's like I can't remember what I saw beyond like 2-3 years. I came out of the coma and I saw the halftime show at one of the Super Bowls, and I told my friend, yo, Travis Scott falls like a Nephilim, fallen angel, and he hits this halftime show. And I told them that before it happened, and then they're like, bro, how did you know that? And I was like, bro, I saw it in a coma. And then they're like, what the fuck? And I said, I don't even know either. Are you guys trolling me? Did you set this up? Because I thought they were trolling me, but apparently it was real that I saw the future. I told my friend, we watched the Super Bowl live, and we smoked a 3.5 ounce joint, like a big old 3.5 ounce joint. And then it happened, and then we're like, what the fuck? I don't, and then that's all I know.
Mudgeon wants to know some research tips from you, Yvonne.
What research?
Actually, that's for everybody. That's for everybody.
Okay. Yvonne, do you have any tips? Well, me, the research I follow, it come like 1 year. I was looking up like Santo Bonacci. For a full year, I look all his videos and everything. And after that, when I kind of have a grasp of his like research that he did, and I move on to something else. Like I'm not gonna stay with something that I don't believe, like all the gods and stuff. That's not what I do, because I try to stay rational, because everything is nature and nature is everything.
What does that mean? Like it's not what I'm going to throw back at you. My understanding of what you've just said. My understanding of what you've just said.
Yes.
Is that you accept secondhand. You don't accept primary source. You accept what somebody else tells you about a primary source.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
Yes, because I look at someone research, and I fact check his research with other people to make sure that okay, they're all on the same page, and I look at nature, and nature is doing this, so it worked. So if it works,
but if they're tapping into if they're tapping into that dimension where they access some sort of intelligent connection to tell you that intelligent connection, and you took that intelligent connection and accepted it, you could now understand that you have the power to tap into the source and establish your own connection.
Yeah, but that's what research theory is. When the scientists making paper, they make a theory, they produce a paper, and there's thousands of people that took that paper and make their own research,
I
and
will
then
not take that away. You're right.
they put it back on the
But I want
market.
to. I will just add the fact that if they came up with the source, like he
Yes.
was saying, instead of making it secondary, make it primary, you can adapt that power to yourself and find your own source, like rediscovering the wheel from a new perspective that we do not understand because you're your own individual and you could come up with your own mathematics, your own perspective, and your own dynamics behind a
Uh,
whole
no,
field.
no, that's not how it works. Mathematics, like one
Well,
is
I
one,
will
two
tell you
is
that's
two.
how it works.
Like there's only one truth. Like you cannot say 2 + 2 is 5. Two
Yeah,
plus
but
two
we all
is
have a different
4.
filter that shines a different light through, but it's
Yeah, but
still its pure form, but it's a different aspect.
if a birch tree is gonna grow, if you take a birch seed, it's gonna grow into another tree or a raspberry plant. No, it's gonna grow into a birch tree. That's
Yeah,
the
but we're
example.
light. We're beings of light. We could be anything. But we choose to be this form.
I
We
did
took
not
on this
choose.
form because it's most intelligent.
Well,
It's
that's
harmonic. It's peaceful. It's everything balanced in this form, in this dimension, is this body. Something designed this body that knows that's the balance. For sure.
well,
Grown.
well.
But that's
That
not my doing. So that's secondary.
no, it's still like what we said earlier. Like it's
So
uh
you're right.
no, well, there's only one truth. There's no other truth than nature.
No, I get what you're
Nature,
saying.
Perspective is truth, man. Everybody has their own perspectives.
yeah,
Therefore,
that's a perspective, but it is not a truth. Like it's your perspective to say like 2 +
but
2 is 5.
perspective is truth, you know?
No,
Yeah,
Are
and
we
it can
it
be
is
all
not.
fractaled
mad?
in
Are we
many
all
different
hallucinating
forms.
in sober states?
Okay, I'm gonna give you another example. Do Lucifer is the light or the light bringer?
Does Lucifer even exist?
No, it's an example. It's a metaphor. It does
Yeah.
not exist because Lucifer is a particle in the universe. It's the field of inertia. But the
I want to know
light,
more about that. You say it's a particle. Can you explain?
And Curmudgeon wants to know the specific methodology of how to do the research.
All right, my bad. No.
well,
Whichever one first.
anyone went to school, so you know how to read a book and take time to digest what you read. This is how research is done, no? Like it's the same thing in the jungle with those medicine men. How do they know what plant is good? By trial and error. It takes thousands of years to figure it out. Many
Yes.
people have died by trying plant that was
Yeah.
poisonous. That's trial and error. There's the same thing in study. You try, you fail, and you try again, then you
But I
succeed.
also believe that at one point in humanity, we were given all knowledge and we knew for certain what plants were good and bad, and we had to regain that knowledge.
Yeah,
Oh
but
yeah, well that's where we also have to unlearn some of the things that we've been taught. That we grow, we learn that we were taught the complete wrong direction for who I am as a person.
you
Well,
have to
I
figure
mean,
it
like,
out.
yeah, but like, you hear the stories of people connecting to plant teachers, like a high psychedelic experience, and them telling them, mix this plant with that plant, and that's how they found out to make ayahuasca to activate the DMT and to absorb it in the brain.
But that's how you research.
Yeah, but they
That
said they got it from a higher intellectual
Nah,
field of
that's not
existence where a
true.
higher being
No,
told them.
honestly, I
They're
could believe that. I've
liars.
had
Oh,
lots of experience
look
with
into all
ayahuasca.
prophecy about ayahuasca. They were told by another being how to make it, doing a different psychedelic.
Oh, I'm
You know
sure
what
that's
it's called?
possible.
Your
You
higher
take the
being.
MAOI alone without the DMT, and
It's
it's
called your
still such a
subconscious.
strong experience that I'm sure that you could, grasp
Yeah.
some
Well,
energy
like,
out of some spirit or some
yeah, for
knowledge,
example, I did DMT for 30 days straight before.
So you've done one of those extended journeys.
Yeah. I've done shrooms for 60 days straight, 4 to 5 times.
Well, guys, what do you know? That's the question.
But I study the
I know
conscious
that I
mind.
don't know. I know that I'm
study the mind.
open-minded and curious.
I study all of it.
I think the
Right.
question is more, how do you know what you claim to know?
Yes.
Experiential, and I would say discernment of the balance of the feeling of emotion through the senses that tell you good and bad, and also the discernment of the mind that tells you good and bad. There's a balance that you find that's like a tool. Once you harness the ability to discern, it's like you have this gemstone, a magical equipment that you look through, and you could discern reality in front of your eyes because you've
So
now
how do you
figured out
tell
to.
the difference between people who have that level of skill or level of ability and those who
Usually,
don't?
for me, it's looking them in the eyes. For me, I've mastered it on some level where I look them in the eyes and I know. But on a panel or something, you have to kind of look at the words. You got to look at their heart. You got to look at certain circumstances where they'll speak out when they shouldn't or should have, and what they say or why. And then you
So
look at all these
when you
different.
see someone in the real world face to face, you believe that you can look at their eyes and you can discern whether they have special kinds of abilities from looking at their
On
eyes.
some level, yes.
How do you know? How do you know you're not
Patterns of
projecting?
thought? You know, when I look at some guy on the street and I pass him, I get like a thought pattern based on the face, the body, the build, the eyebrows, the everything. And
See, this sounds a lot like Daniel Goleman's emotional intelligence to me.
yeah, it's
And I
just
mean,
something I naturally gained. It's nothing I practiced. It's just something I found that was true. Hard to explain. Like I stayed up for like 105 hours once. My max time I ever stayed up, 105 hours. And I would look at people and like I could see and understand on a deeper level things.
Guys, I'm going to end the show soon. So if anybody wants to come on and chat backstage, please do. But it's getting a bit late for me.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah,
I just jumped on and I talk a lot. My bad.
No, it's not that.
no worries. No worries at all.
Fine. It's fine. I was Isaac. You can talk away, mate. I'm just letting people know that if they want to come on and chat backstage, they can, because you guys can keep chatting after I've ended the show.
Oh, true. Yeah, I'm like a paranoid kind of too.
Yeah, I mean, I just think again, I everything you're saying could be true. Okay, let's just put that out there again. But again, I would ask, well, how do you know that when you look at someone's eyes that you're not just projecting what you think might be there?
I'm not 100% sure. I will say I had a fast where I did a spell from the Emerald Tablets of Thoth, and then in the Emerald Tablets of Thoth it was like for protection and all this stuff. I ended up staying up. I will say I had a fast where I did a spell from the Emerald Tablets.
Oh, Divine, you have feedback.
Yeah,
and then I would look in people's eyes, and then I would it was like ancestors were meeting, and I'd have to pull over on the side of the road. I stayed up for 80 hours after I was reading the Emerald Tablets of Thoth and did the spell or whatever, the protection, whatever, incantation.
Yeah, they all talking about like that guy. Oh,
so then it was crazy. I would look in people's eyes. I felt like ancestors were meeting. I'd have to pull over on the side of the road. I'd break down in tears, like I could feel the presence of all this energy.
Okay, guys,
we'll
end the show now. We'll end the show, guys. Anybody want to come on, please do. We'll do a quick round the houses. You can say some words in closing. That's what we do here. So we'll go round. Yvonne, you first. Do you want to say something in closing? Yvonne, you're muted. He might be busy. Dragon Fruit, do you want to say something in closing?
Keep an open mind and an open heart. Love thy enemy.
Okay. Gaia, do you want to say something in closing?
Just look at the tension, the interaction between non-dualism and dualism. Try to reach some level of meta-modernism. Escape this postmodern nihilism.
Okay. Yerf Dogs, do you want to say something in closing, bro?
Dragon's Point, love your enemy. I feel that was a shot at me. No. Yeah, interesting conversation. I enjoy this stuff, and I think these kinds of topics, I'm all for talking about them more. My only caveat on that is I think we need to be a lot more cautious about what we think we know. That's all. I'll just leave it at that. Let's be more cautious.
Okay. Isaac Spiritman, do you want to say some closing remarks?
Yeah, much love, and send out my energy to you guys. I love you, and if you're going through any hard times or anything, just look into your heart, and you know, hopefully, you can see what I see.
Thank you, bro. Good luck to you too. Yvonne, did you
Sure.
want to make some closing remarks?
Well, the only remark I have to make is like nature is the great teacher, and it's the only one. We are
Okay.
nature, and we're part of nature.
All right. Thank you very
Yep.
much.
The I Ching agrees.
Kimojin says, when we love our enemies, they no longer are our enemies. Blessed be. Lovely. And Divine, I know you just come on, but do you want to give some closing remarks? I'll leave it up to you. If you want to unmute and say something, but she might not be able to. We'll see.
I want to say thank you to you. This has
Okay.
probably been one of the best shows ever.
Oh, wow. That's great. I'm glad you enjoyed it, Divine. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I'll wait for my comment.
Yeah, go ahead, Dragon Fruit.
Yeah, I'll wait for the after show.
Okay. All right, guys. Well, look, it was an interesting show to listen to everybody with all their opinions and such on what is going on. I'll be honest with you, I still don't know what is going on, but thank you to you guys for trying to help me find Gnosis. I do appreciate it. What we'll do now is we'll end the show. The link is in chat quickly, guys. If you want to come on, you got like I'll end the show in like 10 seconds. I'll quickly share the link. And then if anybody wants to come on and chat backstage, then be my guest. Link is in chat. There you go. I'll do about 10 seconds. Let's go here. If I can find a countdown. There we go.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 10, 9.
Uh-oh.
8.
We went over it. There you go. Anyway, guys, the show's over. That bloody dualistic nature of everything, has to do it again. All right. Take care, everybody. And we'll chat again. Bye.